perfect.
All right, and
Okay,
with that,
so
we are live again. Confirmed this time. I had it as unlisted on the new broadcast, which is why it was dead air for a bit.
Okay.
But we're back, everyone tuning in. Actually, you know what? Without a starting soon screen and like a scheduled stream, I have no idea how YouTube recommends these things. So this will be a bit of an experiment anyway. But yeah, we are back. We are back spectating the inner workings of sites like Fabrary, Talishar, FabCube, and all that. I'm looking at you again, Nate, if you want to lead the
oh,
people into what you're doing again.
okay. So, oh gosh, I'm gonna risk making myself look really silly right now because I have no idea how to implement this card. So, what I'm trying to do right now is Decimator Great Axe. For those that have just tuned in recently, we talked earlier about the FabCube dataset and how we import a lot of the stuff from there. So what I already did is I gave this the attack action. What I'm trying to do right now is this stuff right here, which um, I had a hard time thinking of another card that had a triggered ability when it's blocked by something. So thankfully, we've got Will on the call. I think that was Will. He reminded me that Centauri Saber has a similar effect. And so when I looked for it in the code, actually, it was the only other one that I have coded out here. So that was pretty cool. So what I'm trying to do right now, we need to limit it to only non-equipment cards. So, if
In an interesting interaction with this card, which possibly is not intended, I saw someone bring this up on the Judge Discord, is that it triggers off of non-equipment cards, but it can target any defending card, including equipment, and there is no
oh,
end time on the halving of base defense currently. So as
okay,
written, this seems to be able to have permanently the defense of a defending card of a defending equipment card, uh,
okay.
which is possibly not intended. So we'll see how release notes shake out.
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
probably
wow.
wait
That's interesting.
until release notes come out to try to code that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
so
there was
yeah.
a funny thing similar. Last night I hit up one of the judges when I was trying to just figure out the discussion portion of my video. And I'd
Mhm.
already had a 30-minute judge call or judge chat with like an LSS staff member to talk about my spoiler card because it had a lot to understand conceptually. So it was like legitimately a 30-minute judge call to talk through it and just understand everything about it and how it works, yada yada. And I thought that was pretty comprehensive. But then
So
last night, when I was like last minute trying to record the discussion and all that, something came up with it, and I messaged once again LSS, and I was like, "Hey, just double checking, like, is this gonna work with Guardian of the Shadow Realm the way that it reads?" And they were like, "Oh wow, that was not something I expected." But yes, as written,
so
yes. It's so funny.
this is a good time to call out something that Lost in Space, the front end UI designer, added just this morning. He added this open format disclaimer, which is where you can use the spoiled cards. We don't have the release notes for this set yet,
Mm,
so we don't have any kind of inside information. We're kind of implementing these in a way that we think makes sense. So we wanted to make sure we really called that out and was clear to everybody. So
very
I
cool.
actually don't know what happens if you click no thanks. But yeah, so back to the card.
Alt F4 if you do.
Uh, this is where programming gets really dull because I don't know what I'm doing. So I need to look and see card type. I assume that's the card that blocks. Yeah, so basically when you hit pass on blocks, what it'll do is it'll call this function for each of the cards that you blocked with to see are there any effects that trigger based on that card. And so you can see we've got an index and where it came from. And then we also figure out the card type of the card based on the index, where it is on the combat chain. So like this would be index 0 because we're programmers. this would be index 1, this would be index 2. So when you hit pass on blocks, it'll call that function for index 1, index 2. And we get the card type. And so if we look at this, it has to be a non-equipment card. So if card type not equal to equipment, then we want to do this effect that lets us choose if we want to reduce the uh, block of something. So now that we've triggered it, basically, we need to make sure that it only triggers once per turn. So probably what I'll do is I'll add an effect. So add current turn effect DTD 205. And then I also need to search to make sure that it's not already triggered once. And what I'm doing now is I'm trying to remember how to search for effects. Search current turn effects. Not search current turn effects for player. BTD 205. So that's gonna limit it to the once per turn, or like the first time per turn. And now we have to do halve the base block of target defending card. I think, don't we have cards that reduce the block of defending cards, right? Can you guys think of any?
Shred, except that's not base. I don't know if there's anything that reduces base
Is there a
defense.
meaningful distinction? Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
there is actually.
there is. But
That'll be
specifically
fun.
in the yeah, there would be a meaningful distinction because if you have anything that is buffing the defense of a defending card, this would not reduce that buff. It would only reduce the
Oh,
base. So
that's fine.
specifically, yeah.
So we can still look at the code. So actually that's the target restriction. So we can still look at the code to see what that does. So this is going to let us choose a card from the combat chain, and it's going to let us add a combat chain defense modifier. I think what we'll need to do uh, is probably just create a new thing. Uh,
Is there anything that translates from like how pulverize works? Because pulverize does that on the inverse. The attacking card halved up.
Pulverize?
Yeah, like not on defense, but in terms of
Oh,
like
no,
having
you're
rounded up.
thinking of fatigue
Oh
shot, I
shit! Yeah,
think.
yeah. Never mind. Sorry. Fatigue shot. Yeah.
Um, Maybe we can look at the code. So I think what we'll do first is we're going to let you choose from the combat chain, and then we'll worry about what the defense modifier is going to do. Because it'll be very similar to Shred, but it'll be a little bit different, and I can show you how it'll be different a little bit later on.
Okay.
So what I like to do is test incrementally. Like right now, I've written a pretty decent amount of code for this card already. And so what I'm gonna do is set up like a little test scenario for it. So we go ahead and pass turn. Just start over fresh. You can see I've been coding and testing for a while already this morning because he's down to 26. Um, so now is a good time. I can show you dev magic, which is that I can open up this game on my local host. And then this is the game state. We kind of looked at this earlier, but for folks that are just tuning in, this is actually what a game of Talishar looks like behind the scenes. Um, it's pretty incomprehensible. I probably don't need to explain all of it. For anybody that's interested, you can go on our GitHub and you can look, if you look in parse game state, this will actually show you what all that stuff actually is. So you can see like the first piece is the player healths, and then you see all the player one data, all the player two data, um, and then a lot of just random stuff. But yeah, we don't need to go into that in too much detail.
Hmm.
Um, so, oh yeah, I was setting this up. So this one I happen to know is their weapon because I've done this like 10,000 times. So we just go ahead and change it to what we want to test. So now you can see we've got our Decimator Great Axe. Um, we can attack with it. What is going on?
Oh yeah. So
Oh,
speaking of, this might have been kind of that same bug. What's going on when Talishar needs to just refresh to kind of like fix itself? Because I feel like that one comes up a lot where something's just stalling. You can't tell if it's your turn, their turn, or what. But then you refresh and it's fine. Is that something that's just like not fixable, or what? Because it
well,
seems to be the
no.
most
So
long-standing issue I've had with Talishar.
yeah, that's probably something I'll make another attempt to fix it after this set. How often does it happen?
Honestly,
Do you
maybe
know?
once every other game. There's just some
Oh,
state
really?
where I'm either having like, I'll type in the chat, see if that refreshes something, type a period, or have to switch to like beta UI, switch back to, or switch to legacy, switch back to beta, or just refresh. Like you've got to do
Yeah,
something to make it like recheck that either
right.
you're holding priority or not, or like your opponent is or not. It comes up a lot,
So,
honestly, and it's not tied to a specific
okay.
instance. It happens.
Yeah, so I hate to say I have no idea what causes it, and I've tried to fix it multiple times. I actually kind of have a suspicion of what causes it. And I think it has to do with the way that I'm storing all these in files. So you can see this right here. This is all the files on my local server. This game state thing, this is just a file. And so when the game state is writing to the file, I'm actually using memory, like the computer's memory, to tell when an update occurred. So I think what happens is I'm saying an update occurred before the file is actually done writing. And then when you go to load the update, it's actually the old saying, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And then, but it says that you've already got the new update. And so something else needs to happen to make it refresh again. You kind of like lost your synchronization with the server, unfortunately.
I see. Okay, that makes
So
some sense.
yeah, I think the solution to that is to try to just not use files anymore, which would be beneficial for other reasons. But it's just it'll take some doing that's probably gonna have to wait for after all this stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, there's no
If that makes sense.
expectation on you guys anyway. This is all still
Yeah,
done just out of the love of the game. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the beauty of not having it be our jobs, right? There's no boss man or boss woman telling us what to do and when to do it by.
hmm
that's true.
And you
So,
probably still get
yeah,
things done on a better time frame than if you had a boss. Some of the jobs I've had, like, all right, I could do this in a day, but you're saying I have 2 weeks to do it. All right, I'm gonna make it take 2 weeks.
There are times
yeah.
I'm more motivated to do this than other work. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass. And so theoretically, when I do that, it should give us the option to choose between one of these two cards, which it did not.
Uh-oh.
So this is always fun. You guys probably, oh, it did add this though. Um, so you guys probably know about the undo key.
Of course, I'm a
So
huge
what
fan
we'll
of it.
want to do, huge fan, huge fan. So what we'll want to do, oh, actually added it already.
Huh, but interesting, but it's not actually registering on any of the blocking cards.
Yeah, I think it's doing it. Oh yeah, see, okay. So this is coded wrong. Does that mean this is coded wrong? Remember when I said I was probably gonna make myself look really dumb doing this card?
You still look smarter than anyone else in the community. They can't do this. Come on.
Okay, so if Centauri Saber is defended by an attack action card, it gains +1 until end of turn. So theoretically, this should probably happen when you hit pass, right? I would think.
Yes, although I think technically by game rules, right, like when you're defending with cards, it's not technically simultaneous, like in the case of Endless Winter. You're not putting down like 3 cards in the blocking step at once. It sees them individually. I don't know if that.
Wait, no, I thought it was the opposite. I thought in Fab you do put them all down at once.
Really? I thought that's how
You
people thought it worked that way, but it was ruled the opposite is what I kind of remember. Could be
Oh,
wrong.
let me pull up the CR. I think from what I understand, I think they're all declared simultaneously, but for the purpose of like next effects, then you choose the order they are considered to be defending in. But in for like all intents and purposes, otherwise they are defending simultaneously. But I'm gonna go double check that.
there is no defending hero. Otherwise, the defending hero must declare all objects simultaneously or declare that they are not defending with any
Okay.
objects.
Okay, so it's declared
So,
simultaneous, but I'm pretty sure they do still have individual triggers, like if there is something that checks.
okay.
Unless
So I
I'm
think what
straight
we need
wrong.
to do is this is going to need to be added somewhere else. And I think I know where to do it. We can put it with stalagmite. So stalagmite, actually, what is on block resolve effects? What is crew 051? So this is what I like to do whenever I don't know what a card does. I'll just go on Fabrary and search for it. That's the one cool thing I really appreciate about Fabrary is I can just type in a card number and it'll automatically convert that to the card. Because, like in this case, I didn't even know what Crew 051 was. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I think this is where we need to put this actually. But we need to change it. So we don't need that anymore. Then we can do that, that. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm searching for uh the chain link cards. And so only if there are chain link cards will it consume our once per turn, which is what this was. And then I think I can change this to Death Player because we only want to search for chain link cards that belong to the defending player.
Hmm.
And then I need to figure out what the other parameters of this function are. So player ID, card type, exclude card types. So actually that's another problem is we want to exclude equipment, right?
Oh yeah, on that specific chain link, but not in theory on the entire chain until we see release notes. boy.
Well, no, because remember this is the indices, so we want to. Oh, you're right. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm
that's the
gonna
funny
wait
rules
until we see the
interaction
release notes.
someone had
I'm
mentioned.
gonna wait until we see the release notes to try to tackle that one.
Fair.
Um,
They're still not really giving us like a true axe archetype yet anyway. Like it's not quite what Dory's trying to do, definitely not what Bolden's trying to do.
what
But
what do you
least how
mean
I'm
there's no
reading it,
true act?
there's no like I mean you can play axe Dory, but your deck's gonna be like block 3 weapon. I don't know. That's not the ceiling of like Dorinthia should be able to do.
Nate, at
Actually,
least at
what?
least
Go
with
ahead.
how I'm reading this card, which as I'm reading it, I noticed I made a mistake in typing up the text. So I'm going to push that up for you. But it says have the base defensive target defending card, which doesn't say anything about it needing to be on the current chain link. So you could hypothetically target a defending card on a previous chain link.
Oh gosh. All right. Yeah, that's funny. We're gonna wait for the release notes on that though. All right, so we did get in here. Oh, we did add this current turn. Why isn't it letting me choose combat chain? Oh, I know why. Oh, because there is no current player. We need to use main player. Can I get you guys to help me code every day? Help me with ruins and stuff? Like, can we just arrange this?
Until I have a job, I'm just hanging out on Talishar anyway. So, although what the hell do I know about coding?
Attempting. I'm always down to attempt to answer judge questions.
We did it. Is this? Oh, let's see. So now, as you recall, so we're doing kind of a partial test. Like we knew this wasn't gonna work, because we commented this out. Because this is a little bit different than Shred, right? Like Shred only impact. So Shred doesn't care about their base defense, right? It is gonna remove it whether or not the defense got buffed. Whereas this card, it only halves the base defense. So what we'll need to do is create a new thing. We'll call it. Actually, I want to leave that commented out so I remember what it's called.
Wait, so was there anything from Fatigue Shot that can translate over in how it's calculating the halved or?
Oh, that's a good call.
Probably, yeah. So we can look at that now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new decision queue. This is like a new I should probably explain what the decision queue is. The decision queue is basically like a fab programming language that I created. And so you're laughing, but like that's actually I think a good comparison. Because what this does, you see I just did choose combat chain. That by itself is going to tell the game engine like, hey, just let them choose a card from the combat chain. And so it calculates, okay, what are the cards on the combat chain that fit this criteria? And then it'll also, tell this guy's UI, hey, pop up this thing, and then once you click one, it'll handle gathering that information and then passing it off to the next instruction. So
that was an
basically
impressed laugh, by the way. Impressed laugh, because it's just so much work. Like, sure. What are you doing? That kind of deal.
I mean, it's less than you would think, because once the programming language is created, then you can kind of reuse it, right? Which is really handy. And so you can see this stuff, like it's a little bit of a mess. I'm in the middle of rewriting it quite a lot, consolidating it. But this is basically the programming language. So you can see like this one, deal damage. That's the one that lets you just pick a target to deal damage to something. So there's like a deal arcane.
Oh my god, I read their ally as like Thorali, some like new angel or hero.
Oh yeah. It's a little bit wonky to be honest. All right, I want to put this by combat chain defense modifier because they're very
succumb to winter.
They're very conceptually related. Yeah, and anybody that knows programming is welcome to make fun of the fact that this so-called programming language is just a switch statement. I'm totally fine with that. That is okay.
Listen, you haven't seen the FabCube's search engine. I'm not going to judge.
Yeah. So okay, what we need to do. This is the defense modifier. And that's where you said to look up
fatigue shot.
Was it fatigue shot? Yeah, so we'll do that really quick. PVR 194. this is kind of my process is every time I try to implement a new card, I just figure out what are the pieces that I can borrow from other cards, right? So this one has rounded up. Is this one up or down?
It should be up. 3 goes to 2.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, perfect. So I can perfectly reuse this.
Beautiful. Lost in Space is still hanging out in the chat, and he says, "Ask Nate how your classes are going." From Lost in. Or rather,
my
please
classes?
tell Nate how his classes are going. I'm not quite sure, but there you go. I'm telling you.
So I think what he is talking about is object-oriented programming, creating classes for all this different stuff to make it easier to program. So I did start having classes to kind of make this better, but that kind of fell towards the wayside because hey, a new set is coming out. But
Mhm.
that's a big part of it is it's not just adding new cards, not just um fixing bugs, but also kind of refactoring and making the code base more maintainable for the future is just kind of an interest of mine. So I spend a pretty decent amount of time doing that between sets. So anyway, I think what we need to do is we need to call block value of whatever this thing was. And then reduce the base block. Minus equal. So it should be instead of attack value, we're trying to reduce the block by the ceiling, which is a round up of the base block divided by 2. And I think we don't need any of this stuff actually, because that's like shred stuff. Oh no. You see what I just did? I modified this, not this. That's hilarious. Oops.
By the way, dataset's updated with the functional text fix.
Oh, perfect. Then, after we're done with this card, I can show people how we actually do the code generation. I made a pretty big whoopsie here though, so we'll go ahead and fix that. Okay. All right, perfect. So now we get to do our testing. I think we have to redo everything, unfortunately. Do we have questions from chat? Like, I haven't really been paying attention.
No, I'm just surprised Lawson's still hanging around. He mentioned it's bedtime, but he's
Oh, yeah.
up here chatting. He says, "Props to Nate. You managed to make the server so much more responsive, and the improvements with the new UI mean there's a lot less data needed to be passed down between the server and client. So more props to you. More props to you." I do notice. I think the rounding is wrong though, right? It should go 3 to 2.
Is, yeah.
So it rounds up in favor of the defender.
Yeah, so let's try that again.
But we're back up to 40-ish viewers, that's about what I expected. Whenever you kill a stream, this happens all the time when I stream like the live events and then cut it for top 8. Even though you'd think that like, all right, we got like 200 plus people, like people are hella invested, they're gonna click over to the top 8 video because why wouldn't they? It's more hype. As soon as you kill a stream, the people who were just like kind of ambiently viewing just lose it. So pretty fortunate. We're back to 40. Thanks everybody for tuning back in.
Yeah.
Can you take a quick break, Ethan, and check your DMs in Discord?
Yep.
For the group chat. Got something important there for you.
Well, now I want to see what it is, but I'm sharing the screen.
You're right. Yeah. Let's do. Yeah, let's just go perma delete. I was gonna
Yeah, sorry.
try to salvage the front bit, but you're absolutely right. It'll just have to go. Well, that's too bad, but that's okay for the betterment of Fab. It needs to go. Okay, Phil's back. Anything you want to show us, Phil, on your end with how, like, I guess updating Fabrary works or anything like that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I took care of it already for the two that dropped this morning. Happy to do it again, though, as the weekend goes on. God knows there's certainly more cards to come.
That's true.
I think we have another one dropping in an hour.
Yeah, actually, let's take a look at Fabrary itself. Spoiler schedule. Scroll. Doom. We've got Legend Story Studios, Pablo. Bryan's at 2, just an hour away, and I'm pretty convinced he's going to spoil something related with Levia, because his post with the macaroni summoning circle is pretty cool. And he says 8 hours ago, still chanting. So he's going hard. Summoning something good for us. And then Red Zone Rogue at 5, DM at 9. Interesting.
Did you guys want me to show the process of importing stuff from FabCube and Fabrary?
Yeah. I mean, we're here to learn. Go for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think I kind of explained this before, and it's actually pretty simple. So this is how we pull code from Fabrary and FabCube. So I showed earlier, I had it open somewhere, but I might have closed it. Yeah, so oh no, here it is. So this is the data set. I think Tyler said he just updated something. So what I was gonna do is I was gonna just pull an update. So literally all I have to do is click refresh on this page, and then it'll wait a while. And so you can see it did some stuff. We can see in here it pulled in Blood Moon. I call it Blood Moon because it looks
It
exactly
absolutely
like
does.
the
Yeah.
magic.
Even I don't even play Magic, but from working at an LGS, like, I hear Blood Moon as soon as people play like game 2 and 3 of a Magic game. Everyone just starts saying cast Blood Moon. So yes,
So
familiar with that
as
damn
soon
card.
as I saw this card, as soon and okay, so how cool would this be? What if it was like an aura that for one turn it made your opponent's pitch cards pitch as though they were red? How perfect would that be?
Whoa, that'd be sick. What
Yeah,
the hell? That's actually kind of amazing.
I don't know.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. Oh,
Instead,
hey,
it's just like
LSS, you want to hire me to be a? I can be a designer.
there you go. Instead, it's just like a much worse Seeds of Agony. Right?
Is it
Effectively?
worse?
Yeah, because it doesn't have innate
Uh,
go again. So, like, the fact that you get to play it as an instant only lets you, like, okay, end of turn and make a rune chant and kind of ramp up into rune gating next turn. And that's really its use case, right? The whole play.
no, so actually, like being able to play it as an instant is in some ways better than having native Goigan, because that means you can play this on your opponent's turn, right? And so what you can do is you can do all your stuff, and then like your
I try
opponent
not to
does
be
their thing.
disruptive. I'm just dropping by.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, that's
So
a great point. I didn't think of that. Opponent's turn, because it's now an instant. I like totally missed it, honestly.
well, and so
Interesting.
the other key with that, right, is if you look at Vincett's abilities, she wants to have stuff like she wants to have rune chants before you do attacks, but what's the other card? Oh, now I'm forgetting what it's called. But so that one you want to play before you attack, before you consume your action point, right? But this one you can play after and then float the rune chant for your next rune gate the next turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would contend that this new card is actually better for Vincent than Seeds of Agony.
Oh yeah, I mean the rune chant is the value game with it is much different than just an arcane ping like Seeds was. Of course, the like rune gating out on curve, if you can somehow in your turn have major attack lead into your turn with 2 rune chants, trigger Vincent, 3rd rune chant, then that's a Phantom Banshee for just one card, the card you banished. That's pretty good. It's effectively a floating resource.
But yeah, so that was basically the process.
So
I do need to
yeah,
upload it to the server.
I heard that you mentioned some extra object-oriented refactoring, and I'm like, nice.
Yeah. You wanna start coding and help?
With the timing of Dusk Till Dawn, I would like nothing more.
Actually, speaking of the object-oriented refactoring, it looks like Steve just joined too, and he's the one that actually did a lot of the work on this class and some of the card refactoring too. Do you want to say hi, Steve?
Yeah, hi everyone. I've literally just got back from being away for the weekend, so I might have to jump in and out, but I couldn't miss this opportunity to say hello to everyone.
Hey, Steve.
So
Nice to meet you.
hope you're all going well. How's the stream been so far?
Yeah, it's been really fun. I think the stream itself isn't indicative of how long we've actually been going. It's been a good 2 hours or so. We just had to restart for a second. So we've been learning a lot. I personally still can't read much of what's going on, but I appreciate the effort and I see the changes happening in front of my eyes, and like, that's tangible. I get it. But I'm here to facilitate the convo between chat and anyone who wants to learn and what you guys actually do. So if you want to share whatever that refactoring thing was, Steve, go for it. But
yeah, so I've only really I work as the kind of server engineer, so I'm kind of keeping the platform online, implementing Cloudflare in front of that to try and help with performance. Is really what the main contribution that I've had to this project. I've just said to Nate previously before that I enjoy kind of programming and coding, but I'm not very good at it. So one of the things he asked that I could have a look at was probably start doing this class for the deck. And so really, instead of just having lots of the same code everywhere, if you were to look at the top card of the deck or something like that, this is what he's showing you here. We can have a class that we can call that basically has all of the different things that you would interact with the deck, and you would be able to kind of call that class and then do something from that, like reveal cards from the top of the deck, draw cards, etc. This is something I started a couple of months ago, but just work and personal life has kind of just put a stop to it. I know that Nate has kind of iterated over it, but this is definitely that I'm something I'm very interested in getting back on and trying to help contribute. One of the other things that I was trying to do as well is implement Google login, so identity providing for Google, so you could sign in with your Google accounts instead of having to create brand new IDs for Talishar. And that was very, very close, but there was a bug that I couldn't quite get over. And again, took a back step, but I do hope to come back and bring these all to production.
Sweet. That'd be super handy. As of now, I've been impressed with the other integrations, like the Patreon integration. So sick. Helps a lot for anyone to import their own sleeves in. That was a really cool feature. But yeah. For what you're mentioning with classes, what would be the difference before the, I guess, classes existed, like functionality wise, to now how it works, having added that to the code here?
It's kind of a mess. Do you remember earlier when I showed you parse game state, where we load everything from that mess of a file that is a Talishar game? So it used to be like these are just arrays. You literally just have to access the deck array directly. So if you wanted to see the top of the deck, you would have to know which player's deck am I trying to look at, and then I'd reference that array and just look at 0, right? It's just not readable. Like it works, it's just not readable.
So the difference now
If you
being
look
instead
at
of referencing like player one's deck, you can just say like player one Runeblade, or I don't know. I'm trying to conceptualize it.
Yeah, I was kind of showing you, this is like, this is a new card that one of the DTD cards that I did with this class, which is kind of handy. So all you have to do is you can call deck reveal, and then that'll handle all the complexity of like Korsham's reveal ability. And then there's can reveal cards, which is what Channel the Bleak Expanse that cares about that. But that's the funny thing is there's so much code that exists just for single cards. But this kind of handles all the complexity for you, whereas previously you'd have to handle that all manually by yourself,
I see.
which is
I
just
see.
not maintainable. And you can see, so like deck top, that'll just return what is the top. And if you want, you can also use that to remove the top card. So it's just a lot of shorthand that makes the code more concise and a lot easier to read. Um,
So calling
Another
it
funny
like
example.
class code has nothing to do with classes in Flesh and Blood. That's like a coding
Oh,
term.
yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a
Jesus Christ. I
programming
was
term.
like, in my head, I'm like, okay, so classes, like, I get it. That is integral to
Yeah, that's a
Fab.
PHP
Cool.
thing.
But
It's a
okay.
programming thing, though.
Programming
So
term makes sense now.
that term comes from something called object-oriented programming, which is like a super basic, like old way of. You can see they invented this in the 50s and 60s. It's just kind of like a recommended way of structuring your programs, and classes are a big part of that. That's just what it's called. It's like the definition of a thing. And that thing, it can have properties and it can have methods. That's kind of the basic idea. And then the properties are the data that defines that instance. And then the methods are like functions. They're things that let you operate on that data,
I
if that
see.
makes sense.
Yeah. People in chat have some
So
examples here as well. I'm getting it now. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
people,
Z the B is correct. So we're kind of making it like modularized in a way, card agnostic. It doesn't care what the card is. It only really cares about the generic kind of function of what a card will do, whether that's revealing or anything like that. Is one of the reasons that we have this class here, and yeah, it just kind of just stops repeatable code all over the place.
people are in chat are like, what do you mean refactoring? You didn't do this in the first place?
No. But yeah, that was one of the things that you said, Ethan, about kind of seeing it and still not kind of understanding it. I've had one-on-ones with Nate, and I still kind of come away from it and just being like, this is still really complicated. I'm not sure if I'm getting this. So yeah, you're not on your own now.
Very cool. Yeah, 1 second. I've got to fix something on my end. Chat text refresh.
Do we know when the next card is going live?
There we go. Yeah, 2 o'clock.
50 minutes.
50 minutes.
Oh, 50
Hopefully
minutes.
a biggie.
Okay.
Thank you, Henrique, in the chat. Caught a refreshing issue, but that should be fixed now. If there's one thing I know how to do, it's use OBS. That's what I got under my belt. But okay, anyway,
So-
cool. We're back.
I've got a wild guess on the description of and formatting of D till D. So Chain's not coming back, but everyone else is. And we're getting cards that suggest cooperative play. Anybody expect Archenemy versus Chain?
Ooh.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
I would take that. I want to beat Chain up. Man, screw that guy.
Hell yeah.
That's wait, that actual last card we saw though, the most recent spoiler from Pablo, that is Ursa, right? Not
Yeah, I
Nazareth?
think that's Thurs.
Yeah, okay. That looks similar enough. Interesting. They put Ursa on a Nazareth card. Or Ursa on a Vincent card. But yeah, I'm all down for that. Let's beat up some Chain. He took away so much fun that I was having.
It'd be the perfect time to introduce the co-op format.
They still said that I don't think it's coming till 2024, right? Like that was still some definitive statement that it will
I missed that.
It will fully release in 2024. But if we start seeing hits of it now, that at least preps us a little bit, so there won't just be like one PvE set and that's all we get to play with. We'll have at least some goodies here.
And if they're giving us a new Shadow Runeblade character that's not Chain, because you can't play Chain in co-op, that at least tracks.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Greg, did you introduce yourself yet to the chat?
I have not. I've been trying to be sort of quiet. So, yeah, hey, I'm Greg. I was doing some attempts to convert the Talishar interface to a Unity layer good while back. For a while, I've been kind of away from the game and the project because, well, as Sant probably knows, Levi has been something of a frustrating hero to play at times.
You've still been tweeting about her.
And
I've still seen those tweets.
Hey. Gotta remain loyal, just even if you're not playing. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what they're doing with her, and if it turns out that the community is still interested in a Unity layer, I'm probably still happy to do that. At the time, it seemed like it wasn't super interest. It wasn't a huge interest. What were you saying?
Have you seen the React one that Losta made?
I have recently. I don't think Unity's quite as necessary anymore, but it's very nice to see the React one.
Yeah. I mean, there's still opportunities to help out on that one, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a very good thing for me to look into anyway. I'm sure I'd have a great time with that.
What would be the difference between a Unity layer versus a React layer? It's just a different way of showing the UI,
just
or
a different,
different UI?
It would be an actual different UI. You would have, you would be able to get something into like a separate window, and if you really wanted, you could get animations, particle effects, what have you. But that is a lot more art budget that we probably don't need to worry about.
Yeah, someone recently reached out with Savage Feats being its own, production company, all that. We've been getting a bunch of emails, and one of the emails we got was from someone, I forget where they said they were from, somewhere in Europe, and he said, "Hey, I was working on some animations like Reinar breaking a sword, or like Dorinthia like stabbing a orc or whatever, to play on stream whenever." Like a card is played, but I didn't have enough time or budget to do all the animations I wanted. Anyway, I wanted to pass you on this idea so that you could probably get it done, like with your resources and your connections, like for your next stream. I'm like, wait, what? No, I can't just whip out like 30 animations for the next stream. Like, I love the idea. Ambition's nice and all, but no, like it's not in my wheelhouse at all. And I don't know if that's even going to accentuate a live stream to just all of a sudden slam an animation over it. But for something like Talishar, yeah, a little bit can go a long way. Like even when you can, even like adding the draggable cards in hand on like the new UI, that has felt like a huge lift. The game's not so static anymore. So smaller things like that, I think could help a lot.
I haven't poked around with the new UI as much as I probably should have. When you say draggable cards, is that like draggable into a zone to play it, or just drag for fun?
It's more so like drag to play. Like, you're just committing to
nice. Nice.
Actually, can you show that off, Nate? I'm not crazy, right? You can like drag a card in hand. Yeah, there you go. And then like it gets played. Like even that, very nice visual lift.
Ah, nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Wait, just a second. Yeah. But yeah, what I've been doing kind of in the background is working on Iron Song Versus. How do you pronounce that? Is that right?
Versus?
That's all. That's what I think.
that's
It's kind of a weird name for an equipment, but
it is very odd.
Is that like
that's what it looks like. It says.
Yeah, there's another card.
Real?
Let me find what it was called again. They really go to the bottom of the barrel to pull up the names of clothing pieces. Like in the new generic suite, there's a Radiant View, Radiant Raiment, and like I don't think I've ever heard the word raiment before. I had to look that up.
Oh, that's a classic World of Warcraft gear term.
Yeah, it just means clothing apparently. Raiment is just clothing.
Yeah. Raiment, regalia, battle gear, cuirass. Expect those.
Interesting.
I think I saw someone who's speculating that Versus is supposed to be a pun based on the other card, Chorus. You have Iron Song
Oh,
Chorus, and
yeah,
then Iron
that's
Song
probably it.
Versus.
They do love their puns at OSS.
Yep.
But it's versus, not versus.
Yeah, not versus.
But
It's a
it's
song,
as
it's a
close
verse.
as you can get.
Okay.
That
bit
card
of
surprised
abstraction.
me though. The fact that they just printed right over Braveforge Bracers.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What?
It's got
Really?
it's
Like,
got
this is-
temper, so it doesn't really. It can't. You can't say it's strictly better.
No, not strictly better, but just the idea of just taking a kind of baseline L slot from the class and giving it a new one.
Oh, fair.
That to me still doesn't sit quite right because like you could have gone for like a legendary headpiece and just fill out the kit first, and then start printing over like the warrior L slots. But I mean,
But
this
hey,
set
if they
this set
print
did that a
over
bunch
scab
already.
skins, I wouldn't mind.
Sure. I don't know.
Giving Warrior the Ranger treatment.
I expect we're gonna see probably like 2 more L pieces that we could use as a Levi player. There's probably gonna be like a shadow piece, right?
Oh yeah.
It's probably either gonna be like a brute or shadow brute piece just to stay parallel with what we've seen from the light. And if it's over scab skins, I really wouldn't mind that. But I don't think it will be. I think it's most likely shadow hands, and then maybe a new head.
The set layout doesn't seem to fit a brute legendary, a vanilla brute legendary. There
Interesting.
are only like 4 brute cards in the set
Hold
that
up.
aren't shadow, but
Hayden-
that could be me misunderstanding.
Hayden
something.
tweeted something. 1 second. Let me try to pull this up.
All right, let's see.
Ugh.
Oh,
All right.
I don't know. Maybe he deleted the tweet. Someone was sharing a screenshot of a tweet.
I just want to have a quick shout out to Shamir in the chat, who was my first ever person that I played against in my first ever armory down in London. I just normally played with my friends over a kitchen table, and Shamir was my first ever opponent.
Hey.
So yeah,
We
shout
love
out to
some Shamir. He's been a valued channel member since day one. Love this guy. He jumped in to cast some Battle Hardened Richmond stuff too. And then on top of that, this man, he submitted one of the best casting reels I've ever seen. Just to go out of your way and like make a casting reel, it is quite a lot of effort, because it's something that you want to show proves your talent, right? And so it's not just, I've got a free afternoon, let me just talk over a VOD. You put a lot of effort in, and he did an amazing job. So shout out Shamir. All the stuff you've been doing with Howling Minds, honestly, is really great. Really great. But here, I pulled up on stream. Hayden did tweet this out. If you thought this week's Arsenal Pass thumbnail was cursed, wait till you see my preview video tomorrow at 1:30 a.m. Oh, so pretty close, like right after mine, basically.
oh,
It's sure to be a legendary time with this reveal. Safe to say my acting resembles something straight out of the Savage Lands.
I stand corrected. That's
So
pretty overt.
everyone, yeah, right? And everyone in the chat's freaking out, of course. Like, this better be a brute legendary chest, a loser mine. I don't think that's likely, because why would they print over? Well, I don't know. You would think that the Shadow
common
Heroes will
basically doesn't
use Carrion
exist.
Husk.
Yeah, that's actually.
So I don't
a
think they
very
would
good
print
point.
over something and like kind of tie it to Leviah in the chess piece. I don't think that's likely. But yeah, pretty cool.
Let's see,
Pretty cool.
Set breakdown. Oh wait, that's not what I'm looking for. Tracker sheet. There we are. Hey, what the heck? What just happened there? Oh,
Brute
clicked
has,
Artifice,
seems
not-
like four spots.
yeah. I only see
Possibly.
4 spots available there.
hmm So in theory, that's like a playset of something, and then maybe a singleton, right? If the card mapping's right.
Or 4 singletons, but that's
Oh,
kind of weird.
True. I don't know, it feels like there's a lot of M's so far. I mean, granted, they don't
Yeah,
release a ton of commons for the spoiler season. A lot of that just gets busted in the case breaks.
But we
even
have.
Yeah, I
so-
think there's
We've only revealed half the Majestics in the entire set. There are a whole 56.
Well, yeah,
That's
I
a
mean,
lot.
come on, we got the shadow stuff coming, of course.
Yeah,
Gotta see
yeah.
that half of it.
Yeah.
Nate, I'm gonna put the new card in the data set because I haven't done that yet.
Oh wow.
Okay. Why don't you
didn't-
switch to Tyler so that you
Yeah.
can show the process?
Let's see. Someone
yeah.
in chat, Magenta, saying they love the stream. The first half of the stream is offline though, so they're asking if the first part will be re-released. Unfortunately, no. We're just gonna keep going from here. But I've got nothing else to do today, so we'll kind of just hang out and see how long this goes, as long as everyone's around. I'm not too keen on playing a game, honestly. I mean, there's no reason to until we get more stuff uploaded to Talishar. So get on it, Dev. Jesus Christ. But yeah, let's see who's streaming right now. We got back to Tyler. Okay,
It's me.
there we go.
So this is my process for updating the data set. So Philip and I have this open shared spreadsheet because during spoiler season, he and I input stuff separately, and then once the chaos of spoiler weekend is over, he swaps back over to using the data set directly. Just because he uses Hood Will's images on the site, and since I use everything directly from my data set, I wait for LSS images to drop. So we go a little split during the weekend. But to not duplicate card entry, we use this, and some other community members are really nice and help us out. So I actually didn't type this up. I think someone in Philip's Discord typed this up for us, which was really kind of them. Yesterday I got off work and I was expecting to type in all 30 cards that have been
Oh God.
spoiled yesterday, and I walked on and someone already typed it up in here, and I just was able to start pulling stuff out. It's really nice.
So
Much
this
different
is
from back in the.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Yes, this is not tied to the tracker sheet, the spoiler tracker, right? This is a.
No,
So
no,
how
this
do-
is separate.
So can people access this to contribute, or this is kind of it's tied
Yes.
to only certain?
Yes,
people?
no, this is open. I think we have it pinned in a few places. One of which is I think Philip's Discord. I might have it in my Discord as well. And then we sometimes will share it around during spoiler season to kind of try and gather community help.
Okay, sweet.
But no, it's back compared to I think I started doing this back in Everfest days, I want to say. And back then that was just me entering data with no one helping. I think that was Philip was just starting Fabrary then, so he might have helped out a little bit. And so comparatively now, being able to log on and other people have helped out, it's so nice.
Very cool.
But then how I do it is I drive everything through CSVs. So let's see, widespread ruin. We're gonna do this alphabetically. So this is every card in the game represented as a CSV. And we're gonna slide it in. And so most of the stuff you'll see is just, you expect name, pitch values, all of that stuff. Something I do to help out, both, my kind of ethos is if I want something for myself, I'll try to put it in the data set so then everybody can benefit from it. So for example, all of these different keywords, I actually will pull out keywords that are on the card, but then also abilities and effects, keywords that are tied to abilities and effects, keywords that are given to other cards, keywords that are removed from other cards, anything that if it interacts with the keyword. So say, for example, this is a good example. Absorption Dome doesn't have boost itself, boost is on the card, but you don't boost when you play Absorption Dome, but you look at something that has been boosted. So I classify that as that interacts with the keyword.
So how about the new Banneret cards, right? They have this keyword Soul Flare, but then they explain the entirety of the text right after, because Soul Flare isn't kind of a stable effect. Every single one is different. How are you adding that?
Yeah, so I have so the Bannarets right here. We have Soul Flare is printed on it. And then I have, when this is charged, I have it set to say if this interacts. This interacts with charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And it's a little bit of a how do I say it? my interpretation, basically. Like, I'm open to, like, when you're reading a text, it's can be kind of hard to be like, well, does this interact with it or not, or something like that. So I'm continually kind of tweaking some of that stuff, but I try to keep it relatively consistent.
Keeping it consistent is better than what LSS is doing. So they're all over the place. Prism, flip it. That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and you'll see. So we have all of these, like pitch, cost, power, defense, intelligence. We have the types split up, comma delimited, so that way you can actually create like an array of comma delimited types, and then all the keywords and stuff. And then we have the functional text, which I have formatted with Markdown for display on sites. And the functional text, I always keep it up to date with the latest printing or errata. So if a new printing comes out, if a new errata comes out, I update it. Honestly, just partially to make sure that if people are using my data set, they're using the most up-to-date functional text to try and prevent confusion. Because one of my, as a both player and as a judge, one of my kind of things that is, it can be kind of hard to tell what's the right functional text to pay attention to if I'm just pulling up a card and looking at the images. So early on when I was making this data set, back when hardly anyone used it, I was like, well, on my side at least, I want to make it so you only see the latest functional text to try and prevent confusion. And so I don't keep track of any historical functional text.
I was gonna praise you for a second as well on FabCube. One of my favorite features about it. Let me pull it back up. FabCube. So I love that you can go to the about list and you've got the site progress, recent updates, all that so clearly marked. I've always just super appreciated, like, going on Steam or something and seeing the different release notes and things like that. So,
thank you.
Well done on that front. Transparency means a lot. And does Talishar have something similar? Have I missed that on Talishar's end? I don't know. I don't remember seeing like an update log. But anyway, that stood out to me.
Normally
So,
posted by Twitter, don't we?
The closest thing, I mean, one thing when I upload new changes, like new cards, I usually put it in release notes. And then like when people report a bug, I'll just reply to them saying that it was fixed. I don't think we really have a change log. You could go look at the revision history in GitHub. So that's probably the most the most comprehensive. You can see I probably did like 20 commits today. Oh, I just remembered you can't actually see my screen.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's some good feedback. We can try to make that a little bit more discoverable.
Well, if you need a UX content writer, I know it's the hardest job in the world. But that's what I've been doing for like the past year. It's just, writing words. So there you go. If you need something done on that end, just so it doesn't eat up too much of your time, I'm happy to take that on.
You got to be careful when you offer me to do things.
No, I'm not doing anything right now, man. I feel like, at least while I'm job searching, I owe Flesh and Blood some time, but if that can actually convert into being useful instead of just, I guess, playing Talishar, but actually helping Talishar behind the scenes, I'll absolutely do it.
Absolutely, thank you.
So what is on the CSV file on the left? What's that generated line of code? Like what's happening there?
Yeah. So this came about. This didn't used to be in the site, the data set when I started. But this all came about when I had been using card ID as the unique ID of a card in a card printing. And then Uprising changed all of that because double-face cards, two different card printings have the same card ID. And so I temporarily was like, oh gosh, what do I do? And so I decided I would make my own unique IDs, kind of keep it consistent in the data set, and then also so that LSS is always going to be changing things as new cards come out and new they come up with new crazy ideas for cards, which is always very fun. But part of the fun and challenge of maintaining a data set is, things could change without warning. Even today or tomorrow, they could drop some wild
12,
card.
15,
Like,
12,
oh, God.
12, 15. Leviathan, it's changed forever. There you go.
Oh, gosh.
Plug.
Okay, cool. I'll get prepped to slowly lose my mind trying to adapt whatever your card is. And then and so I had to try and give myself some consistency in the data set while keeping myself adaptable to whatever LSS, whatever crazy stuff they come out with. I decided to make my own unique IDs. So what you'll see is I have this blank right here, and then if I go and I run the script that I have, it will generate unique IDs, and you'll see that it runs through every single card that uses unique IDs and looks for anything missing, and you'll see it generated a unique ID for English card, Widespread Rune 1, and then I come back over and I open it back up. Now it has a unique ID. And so my goal now is that will never change unless I really screw up. And so hopefully anyone who uses my data set can also now safely use that as a unique ID when they're using my data set for stuff. I use these unique IDs in the FabCube. You can actually see them like in the URLs. If I go to a card printing, you'll see this is the unique ID of that card. And as I swap between specific card printings, it changes around in the URL.
Oh yeah, check that out. Well, I will say it is.
And so
it is super useful that you did that because, like you'd mentioned with the double face cards, it was pointed out to me by an LSS judge recently that in theory, if you have like a double-sided invoke card, right? One card is invoke Dominia, the other side is Dominia. Technically, it is within the design space to have a different front and the same back, where instead of invoke Dominia, it could be like summon forth, a legendary dragon, roll a die, 1-2 Dominia, 2-3, or like a 3-4 Tomultai, 5-6 or Optimi, whatever. Imagine a card like that. So the backside of a card could actually have the same name or whatever of something that previously exists, but the other side could be different. That's still within the design space. So
yes,
that probably would have really screwed things at some point. So it's a good thing you're doing this now.
Yeah, and that's so I actually I'll show you that after I finish putting this in. So we have DTD. Now this is my card printings, which is any combination of the set, like if it's printed in a set, and then the combination of rarity, foiling, art edition, and stuff. So you'll see if I go to the Figments are a good example. You can see the Figments in here twice because the Figment has one printing that is a majestic rarity, and then another printing that is I use V for Marvel, because M is already taken up, and I figured V is close to like an upside down triangle. V, and then it has a cold foil, and then it's extended art. If there was ever, say, when I try not to make too hard of guesses as to what's coming out, I try to wait for confirmation, either through LSS, who has incredible resources for cards, as they're not necessarily released right away, but once they do, like it's so helpful to go through their card gallery, their collector's notes, and see what did I miss? Did I miss anything? Occasionally, I will find things that they missed, and I'll email them, and I'm sure they love me for that, very sarcastically. So if I'm guessing Figment of Irrigation will come in Rainbow Foil, I'm not going to put it in right now, but when that's confirmed, I just need to make a new line and then copy this and tweak it to R for Rainbow Foil.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I guess you have to be careful with that even now because the Invokes didn't come in Rainbow Foil for one.
Yeah, and so I try not to make any assumptions because given that I'm lucky that so many people use my data set now, but that also brings with it the stress of if I make a mistake, it gets pushed out to a lot of places all at once, and so I try not to put cards in that I'm not sure of because I'm trying to keep this as much of a source of truth as possible without it being a official data set. And so we'll copy here. So this is this is the edition field. So for previous cards, the edition would be like A for alpha, F for first. But now that we don't have editions, this is like no edition.
Oh, interesting.
And this is a majestic, and that is no foiling. And then the artist, I think was that okay, Reza Akhtar.
So in that in that end line, would you put like a promo, for example? Is that still?
Yeah, there's a promo rarity.
Oh, rarity.
Yeah, and I also have a
set
set.
line.
Yeah. And then I also have the different set. So if I go to like, oh boy, that's not going to work. LGS is a good example. So here's all like the LGS, and that is like an LGS. I have it as a set. And this is the set unique ID. So if I go through and I open, here we can see all the cards. Here's every CSV that drives the English stuff. So we have all of the abilities with their own unique IDs, all of the different art variations, which are kind of just stuff that I've made up to try to describe things. So, alternate border for stuff like the Adjudicator promos now have like that cool alternate border.
Oh, baby.
Alternate art, any alternate text, extended art, full art. Every artist, which this is actually generated whenever I'll show you the script I run to do the prep, but this actually is generated and it looks at every the card printing and finds all the unique artists, so I don't have to worry about missing a new artist.
So actually, speaking to the artists, have you noticed a trend? Like in every set, do they tend to add a few more? Do they subtract a few? Do people get less assignments? Is that something you can like kind of have ever looked at tracking or no?
You definitely could with the data set. I haven't written anything to compile per set yet. But I definitely have noticed, like, you have like a lot of the go-to staples, like Acer, what is their name? Acer Masoa has a lot in this set, and I've seen them a lot. Like Carlos Cruchaga,
of course, yeah.
Federico Musetti.
Yeah,
they always go like a Mark Pooler. Yeah,
Steve Argyle, List New 10, the goodies.
Yeah, you definitely start to see a lot of returning names, and then you'll see some new names. I think, what's the name? Krug, I think, is their last name. They're in for the first time. I think they just had art spoiled for 2 figments.
Like the stained glass look. Those are really cool.
Yeah. So it's fun getting to see like, oh hey, like a new artist got added. But I haven't gone and looked yet at any like, per set how many new artists or not returning artists were there. And then I have all of the band data so new bands get added or removed. Here's like, this is all the historical band data for Blitz.
That is more bands than I thought. Jesus Christ. It's all the damn wizard cards.
Well, it's bands being added, so you can see status active is yes, and then when it gets removed, I say status active no. So Seeds of Agony got banned here, and then it got unbanned here. So that way there's a historical data of every change to the bands, and I do that for bands for all the formats as well as Living Legend and Suspended. We have the Card Face Association, which I'll actually open that up, because this is what drives the double-sided cards, and will hopefully handle whatever they throw with that. Because you brought up, what if they change what's on the front side of the card? But that actually already exists. It's tokens.
Ooh, true.
Tokens. Yeah, tokens in the sets have different combinations of how they are formatted. So this is my attempt to track all of that, all of the combinations of cards. So if a card ever has 2 different printings on either side of it, this is where I put them.
That is insane. Is this something that you can pull from LSS, or do you have to physically like comb through a box of WTR, find out every romping club front and back? Because I've never actually seen this posted anywhere on the website, but I could be wrong.
I think they have that data hidden in their collector center.
Okay.
If we go to collector center, is my best friend. Shout out to, I was talking to Josh from LSS about this in the Judge channel the other day.
Shout out Josh
I
Scott. We
asked
love
her-
him. Yep.
Shout out Josh. And I was talking to, I forget, I think he said Chris Gehring is who manages the Collector Center. And I was like, I need to buy Chris a drink if we're ever at Worlds or something together.
What? They need to buy
because
you a
if you
drink. Hold up, Tyler. Hold up. They gotta buy you like the whole kit and caboodle. Like, come on. They're just doing this for fun. That's worth a lot.
Well, I mean, this would have been so much harder if without a lot of his work putting this stuff up. Because if where is it? Yeah, right here. You'll see they have Frostbite, and then they mentioned double-sided token card.
Oh, they do have
And
it.
so
Okay,
they
wow.
will point out what double-sided token cards it is associated to. So, for example, like Icelander, comes in 2 formats. She's either young Icelander is either on the Icelander Stormbind for like the young adult combo that they have in some sets, or she's, as anyone who's drafted Uprising knows, on the back of Searing Emberblade.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled a lot of that data from here, just like looking through and then putting it into my own format with all of this. And then I also, this is the card printing. I lose track of what CSVs I have open sometimes. There's so many. So that's the card face association. I also have the card references, which was inspired by a feature I really loved from Philip put on Fabrary. And I wanted to steal it, but also I wanted to make it easier for him to maintain that too. He had a really cool idea, and I think he was doing just like text searches or something to associate these, where you could go on. Here, I'll pull it up on his site. If you go to a card, let's say Ponder. Also, side note: this is my new favorite art in the entire game. I
Oh,
love
that's
this
the one.
card.
Okay, wait, hold up. Can you enlarge that at all?
Yeah.
Someone had asked about I forget, it was in the first part of the stream, something about like if Levi is gonna have like new tendril demons or something because they were shown on a card. I believe this is the card they were talking about. I can't quite see because the stream's locked to 720p, so I can't really like squint too hard. But that does look like new shapes of demons on the right. So, I don't know.
I'll open
Yeah.
it in a new tab, see if we can get a bit of a larger image. Just right click it in a new tab.
Yeah, I get. I mean, and that looks more just like a unique art style than anything too definitive, I would say. But, sure, I guess I could see that thing in the
I
top
also
right
love like the
being a
little
demon.
the little face hiding here. I don't know. I love this art.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. These things are freaking gorgeous. I don't know if there's enough Marvel slots left for us to assume Shadow gets anything as cool.
I
Unfortunately,
think we have 2 slots left.
2 slots for Marvels. Okay,
Yeah.
not bad.
But Philip had this thing, which I thought was super cool. So he had like, hey, this references Ponder, and then you could click through and see like, Ponder, and then this is referenced by all of these.
Oh my
And so
God.
Philip and I and kind of just will like trade features and like search features and stuff, and he'll do something. I'll be like, oh, that's super cool. I'm gonna steal that from my site and implement that. So I made this to help things easier for both of us. And so this is all of the cards and what they reference. Either tokens or the more nightmarish ones are they've started to do if it has blank in the name, and I've tried to capture all of that. So for example, Descending Gustwave represents Surging Strike. So this associates every Surging Strike to Descending Gustwave. Or like all of these new Prism cards say Heralds in the name. So Imperium Rapture has references all of these. So if we go to
let's see.
Imperium Rapture, and you can see that it
Wow,
references
look
all
at
of
that.
these cards.
Okay, this starts to make sense for the idea of a FabCube. You have all the good data there to build it. You just don't have the add to cube button.
Correct. Yeah,
that is really cool.
The data set has taken a lot of my time. Much to my, I'm happy everybody's using it, and I'm happy to continue maintaining it. But I'm like, oh, I need to really double down on the cubes. As people, as you ran into, were like, oh, it says the FabCube. Why can't I make a cube? I'm like, And then we have the various different types of editions. We have all the foilings, all of the icons that can appear. So, for example, intellect, life, defense, power, resources. Every keyword in the game with unique IDs for people to use. All the different rarities. Here, I'll show this first. Every set in the game.
Whoa.
As well as the printings of the set. So you can see, especially at the back when we had the old first edition and unlimited edition, here's like the 2 printings of Crucible of War, as well as their associated, like, easy access to the collector center and the booster set. When did they come out? If we have that data, when were they discontinued? Stuff like that.
Incredible.
And then types. What's up?
Yeah, is there a data set that you haven't created yet that you're still looking to create, or do you think this is really captured at all at this point?
So I will need a lot of help. This has the baseline, but the translations,
sure.
I don't have a lot of that data. And I know people have really been clamoring for it, especially Philip rolled out his collection manager, and I know people have been wanting to add all of their history pack cards in. The history pack 1 and 2 each are like 400 to 500 cards, and then having to go through and add in the card printings, which you can see like just like a sampling of what it would look like for like the French cards, and then I do some stuff to associate translations independent of any printing for cards. All of that is a lot of work, and I want to get it done. And I either need help with people adding that, and I think that this data set's finally at a state after I did like a big refactor recently to get it into the card printing separate and stuff. With all of that done, I'm hoping that this is open for people to contribute to, or if people want to. LSS does have like an Excel spreadsheet they publish with some of this data, and I'm hoping that maybe there's like we could write a script to automatically pull the translation data in. There's a lot.
Well, we've got someone in the chat
to do with that.
Yeah, someone in the chat is asking the best way to contribute, but then seems to have gotten scared off by the fact it's mostly PHP.
So my data set isn't in PHP. That is Talishar.
Oh, Talishar.
My data set is mostly in CSV with some Python and JavaScript scripts, which I can quick show. That's my front end code. Please hold. I need to find my. So this is what drives everything right here. It's okay. That was my localhost password, so no one can steal stuff from me.
God, not this again. be careful, everyone. You're on live stream.
Yeah. So the CSVs all live here, but CSVs are not necessarily great. It's like if you saw when Nate was pulling everything in and coding, it's actually all through JSON, because I generate JSON files from the CSVs, because CSVs are easier to maintain from data entry. Like, it's a lot easier to open it up in a CSV editor and edit stuff instead of coming into here and opening and editing this manually. So in just a minute, I'll show you how that gets created. But I have helper scripts for various things for people to use in my data set to help out. So for example, I have a script that to download all images from that I have associated from LSS. So I only put LSS images into my data set. Then this script will actually run through and just download every single image I know of from LSS's site. And you can also ask it for only a specific set of cards. So if you're just working with a specific set and you want the images for that. So I have this so that, if content creators want cards easily and don't want to go through the card gallery or something, want to just set up a Python script, they can use this script to download all the images.
So in terms of like using that script, what do you have to do? Just like open up command prompt, dump it or something, and it pings the server and downloads, or no?
Yep. So I actually have the README for setting it all up.
Oh, sure.
Right now, you need to know just the basics of installing Python. I've had some requests from some content creators to make a executable that doesn't need this, which I would love to do at some point when I find the time, because I understand that not everybody wants to deal with the nightmare of running stuff on a terminal. Yeah, right now you have to install Python, and which I have some instructions for.
Well, actually, hold up. Let me watch my stream real quick. I want to show you something I have. Oh wait, God, I have my Leviathan spoiler folder just right there. Let me do this off screen real quick. Open up the right thing.
Yeah, before we
okay, here we
before
go.
the stream even started, I threw the image from my spoiler into a folder that said like "Do not open." And I didn't. Open. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing I have from the amazing Brazilian-based channel Contador na Tunic.
Okay.
They reached out really early on and sent me this program to basically do what you're saying right now, where you actually can just download all the images from like the actual Flesh and Blood site. So there's a couple EXEs. It's it's not all baked into one, but basically the steps are kind of simple. Like you had, I don't know how to show you the code. Maybe I can. Maybe I don't know how you do that. Maybe open it on. Okay, whatever. We'll get to that. But anyway, yeah. So just to shout him out again, Contador na Tunic and his cousin Mateo Singh are the ones behind this. But basically, what this does is lets you download, or rather, you have to run new cards first. Is the idea? Mm-hmm. New cards, then requests. Oh, it's actually from FabDB. Oh, not from the Fab site. But anyway, this will ping FabDB, requests all the data from all the card images on the site. Then it'll tell you when it's done. Cool. And then once that's done, it closes. You open Image Downloader, which I already have it all downloaded, so we don't need to do that. You open Image Downloader. It then dumps it all into this data card images thing. Right, they're all right here, and then you run the main and check this out. This is the good stuff. It then also gives you this little pop-up that you can use for stream. This is how I do it, with a little bit of fade animation as well. So I just do like a screen capture on OBS to capture this window on card images. And then when a game is going live, I can just type it in. Okay, like they're activating Prism. All right, Spectral Shield's gonna swing in. Okay, this is coming in for. Oh, they're gonna sync below it. And you can just go through and have it all just done in this one folder. So it's kind of like it's like the half of what you're saying, where you can like ping and download the images, but then it also has the functionality for streaming, which is this is the most incredible app ever. And
this is amazing.
Yeah, this is a good one. So if I can get you in touch with him, if that helps at all, that could hopefully
I would
like help you build the EXE or whatever you need.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah, like how can
I think, is that Silhouette?
How can I show you anything relevant in the code? What do I have to do? Like open a JSON in Notepad or something?
If it's in the EXE, then we can't look at the specific code because it's compiled. But I actually think so. I have a Discord that some of us devs chat and collaborate on. And I actually think the creator of this is in the Discord. So I'll have to talk to him.
His Discord is Silhouette.
Yeah, he's in it.
He's
I'll
in it.
have to,
very cool. Yeah, ping him again. The dude's amazing. Very helpful. Yeah. And I got him a job at LSS, baby.
Is he working at LSS?
Yeah, he's contracted. He's contracted. But yes, as a way to pay him back, I promised I'd try to, shout him out or get him something when I could, and it all culminated into him getting hired as a some kind of like community rep, some like manager, some role in Brazil to help spread the game there. So yes, he's now at least contracted in some capacity, maybe working full-time for LSS. So that, really worked out for him. Great dude, great channel. And this has really saved cover. I mean, if I didn't have this tool like years ago when I was starting to do streaming, I don't know if I would have kept up with it. I mean, this has made it so easy right? To just add in all the card images with that little automated exe with the transition and all that. Because I'd been doing it in some messy ways before that, where I just had, I was manually downloading images, and then I'd have like the preview screen like captured in OBS, and then I have to like go back in the file, open this up, and like have OBS look for the similar named window and like close the. It was awful. It was so bad.
Gosh.
So yeah, his program saved me. Also, fun fact about that guy. He put me in touch with a friend of his, also Brazilian, but I think lives in Europe now, who does animations. And I asked him to animate that Mansant intro. I can pull that up on stream as well. But most people have probably seen it by now. Once again, let's avoid that folder. Assets, video, YouTube. Okay, let's turn that down. So he put me in touch with a friend of his who is really good at animation to animate this, right? My new intro with like the Mansant, whatever zooms in. This guy who did it was then hired by LSS, and he's the one who's been making all of the animations we've seen, like the animated trailers for Dusk Till Dawn, Outsiders, the specific light one. That's my boy CD. And I put him in touch with LSS.
That's cool.
I did it. I hooked up all of Brazil, apparently. Yeah, because I had asked LSS if they could ever make animations for like battle hardens or callings, like for that kind of thing. Because remember, at some point they didn't have that. They didn't even have a like animated Fab logo. So I had asked LSS if they planned on making that, and they said, "Oh yeah, we are, but we just don't know the right person for it." I'm like, "Okay, well, actually, check out this guy." And they hired him, like, almost instantly. The dude is so good. I mean, you saw the Outsiders video. You saw the Dusk Till Dawn one.
Oh, that was incredible.
He's insane. Insanely talented. So you're welcome. Look at that. Look at that, LSS, saving your ass. But yeah. So there's some good people across the world. You guys, the Brazil contingent, also pretty sick. Anyway, tangent over.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely have to contact him for trying to get something similar for making it easier for people just to bulk download cards. But yeah, this is covers most of it. I do have we'll get into the JSON generation in just a second so that I can push stuff up so people can use that new card. But I also, one last thing I have is I actually have a script for generating a SQL database that I actually use on the FabCube, but I have it in here for anybody to use if they want. So this, if people are familiar with SQL, this will take every card printing, basically everything in the CSVs, and just generate a new database that you can start using for SQL, encoding with SQL. And so this is the code that I use on the FabCube for running the stuff, the cards that then you can search through, and made it open source since figured if I'm using it, that makes it easier for other Fab developers to get started on stuff. And then the last thing is this JSON generator, which I'll show right now. So if I go to helper scripts, generate JSON.ash.
Okay, wait, hold up 1 second, Tyler. It is hit 2 o'clock.
Ooh.
Bryan Gottlieb should be sharing his Leviathan spoiler. Okay, it was scheduled for 2. He did post this at 2 and said it worked. He's been doing this whole thing of like macaroni thing, chanting, yada yada. Claims that it worked. Should we take a peek? Is it going to be in the comments? I hope this card's in the comments and we don't have to wait for a new post. Flip it. Okay. Nope, he has not read the Prism text box, apparently. He's not flipping it. So we do need to wait still in the meantime. I'll be refreshing. Oh my god, there it is. Never mind. It's here. Does it always rain blood and toads in New Zealand? I'm sure it's nothing. Anyway, looks like my friend Vincent is a big elbow pasta fan and decided to send a little sneak peek of what she's about to get up from across the across the realms. Thanks, Vinny, for the preview card. All right, it's not a Levi card, so we can just close this tab. Not super interested. No, let's take a look. Oh, absolutely baited. He had Blasphemfet and Levi out, or Doomsday out. Widespread Destruction, yellow, 3 cost, Rune Gate, 6 attack, 3 block. When the combat chain closes, each hero who has lost life this turn banishes a card from their arsenal. Blood Debt.
So this is a partner to the one we just saw, right? The one that I've
well,
been entering in.
Similar in terms of the condition. Yeah.
Yeah.
When this combat chain closes, okay, so on your own turn, this is nothing you can use. Oh, well, no, you could use this defensively. Yeah, when the combat chain closes. Okay, so either when it's attacking or blocking, each hero who has
Blocking
lost
it wouldn't
life...
work.
Wait, why not?
Because functional text isn't active when blocking unless the functional text says so. So something like Rally the Rear Guard is available to be activated because the text says it can be activated while blocking. Otherwise, it doesn't. It's not turned on.
What? No, come
Yeah.
on. This, I don't know. This is like in my head similar to, well, I guess not quite a parallel to like Beast Within, but Beast Within is always checking if it was sent to graveyard not on the combat chain. Doesn't matter how.
Yeah.
This isn't just like
yeah.
checking the combat chain. Doesn't matter how. Really? Damn. That's
No,
unfortunate.
yeah, functional text isn't active otherwise.
Damn. Okay, so never mind. Only when you're attacking then. When the combat chain closes, each hero who has lost life this turn banishes a card from their arsenal. Okay, so potential upside on your own. If you have a blood debt in arsenal, it's a way to cycle it out, which could be truly beneficial. I mean, I would assume you want your Rune Gate cards to get cheated out. So if they're in arsenal, that's just not a big deal to cycle them off into the banished zone. I mean, we'll take blood debt, I guess. But then, of course, the opponent would suffer from this, and in the most cases, they don't benefit from the banish, like banish pile, banish zone synergy. That's really cool, huh? So this is all synergy with like Vincett's unblockable rune chant to always make sure these things hit. So the fact that it's not a breakpoint in and of itself is really interesting. Okay, cool card. I'll take it. I guess we know for a fact
Yes.
Vincett it goes tall rather than wide, and then relies on like these disruptive effects to keep up with the game. What? And then Bryan re-uploaded Blasmafet?
There's 2 other images.
Okay, this is still the Monarch code though, so what's the point? Hope to see you all at the pre-release. Enjoy the beautiful, totally not apocalyptic weather. I don't see anything different with this Blasmafet. The card, like, what do you call this? The set text number or whatever is...
Yeah, the card ID.
The card ID is from Monarch still, so I don't really get why this is here. That's the same deal. Monarch ID. And then this one. Okay, some lore. Where once they walked, the terror stalked, baying for faithful blood. Where once they followed, the creatures swallowed and slew in a blasphemous flood. Okay, that is okay, that is awesome. I love that. That is pretty damn cool. Although you would think Blasphemet would only care about the Shadow Brute heroes. Unless something in the story makes him also start supporting Vincett. Vincett has her own Nazareth. Interesting. Okay, cool card.
Is that art
cool
of
card.
Plasmafet?
Well, no, it's like not exactly Blasphemous, but that's what his anatomy is very similar to, like the multiple heads in the center. I mean, we can go back and look at it. It's like the multiple heads in the center, the multiple arms, kind of like this, like stalk of a body.
Yeah.
That's very similar. It's like a spawn of Blasphemet, and yet it is a Shadow Runeblade card. Interesting. I feel like there might be a story tie-in here. Like, why is Blasphemet helping Vincett? Otherwise, I feel like this art could have been used for Leviathan card much more aptly. Interesting. How much lore is there on Blasphemet? Asked the chat. Would any Shadow hero be able to pray to each monstrosity irrelevant of their classes? No, in theory, these like demon gods, what are they called? Like Umbra or something? Don't they have a special name? Does anyone know? No one knows. They have some special name. It's not as generic as like demon god, but they live in Arathriel, and Chain at least makes the initial pact with Ursur to basically imbue himself with power, and then promises to Ursur that, you know, he'll break him into Wraith and get the party started. Leviathan accidentally ends up connected to Blasmafet. Obviously, the ritual that goes wrong, and then as she stumbles around in the demonastery, and then kind of gets to Arathriel. We're not sure if it's Arathriel or not, but it's like some fleshy, otherworldly landscape. She fights a bunch of monsters and then ends up chatting with Blasphemfett, and they make a deal. And then she makes another deal with Chain to team up and take down Solana. So as of now, like the only, Leviah doesn't really interact with Urser. Blasphemfett doesn't really interact with Chain. They are singled off in their little demonic packs. And then we don't know much about Vincent, but it did say Vincent and the Soul Harrower Nazareth are connected. So I don't know, maybe all the demon gods are chatting it up with each other and like they lend their power out, but I don't think that's in the lore anywhere. As of now, they have like their little Mommet in the Wraith world. Their little puppet, I guess. But this could be a hint that, the packs are changing. Who knows? Interesting card. Thank you, Bryan. Thanks for chanting for 24 hours or whatever it took. All right. That was cool. I got you back on, Tyler.
All right. Yeah. I was entering the text of that card while you were headed up. Any chance to add cards when I can. So
you're gonna need like an extra 5 lines for my card. You need to be ready for like 8 paragraphs. It's a monster.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'll prep. Yesterday has been warming me up for all of this. But I'll show you quick what happened with this. So you can see this is how I check the changes to the data set before I commit them up. So you can see we have the card CSV has this change, and the card printing CSV has this change. And then I ran I have a helper script called generate JSON, and it looks at all of the CSVs and associates them together, and then it creates this new CSV file. You can see it's now taken the cards. So this was a separate line, this was a separate line, and then it puts them together into, has all of these with all of the card keywords in an array, types in an array. We have the printings in an array. And then for other cards, say what I was showing with, if it's banned, it will look at all the banned cards, like all of that CSV, and it will check if any of those are active, and it will mark it as banned if it is banned. You see it also checks, like we have Blitz legal, CC legal, but then commoner legal is false because it's majestic.
Hey, well, where's Clash? Where's Clash? I don't see it. Squinting.
I don't.
No.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I think commoner will get better now that we're seeing a lot of the extra rares in the weapon and equipment slot get added. It'll actually feel like its own unique format, and maybe we don't need to care about Clash. So that's been a good change. I think I'm over Clash, honestly.
Yeah, I've been super excited to see, like, people are asking why the commoner cards were added in the set, and I'm like, I'm kind of excited, like all of those, the raiment and like all of that. I'm excited to see that for commoner support, and CLSS supporting that.
Well, right, you can now run Bolton, and you don't have to run Axes. You can run Beaming Blade or whatever it's called. That's probably a decent deck.
So that's super cool. And then so we have this card JSON, and then this I add it up to the data set it's called commit, and then I do was it Widespread Destruction is the name of the card? I don't even remember the name of the card I just added.
No, that was the
Widespread Ruin.
That was the older one. Wait, no. What am I thinking of? Bryan Gottlieb's was
Ruin's
called...
Destruction. This one's Ruin.
Widespread Destruction. The other one is Ruin. Yeah. Okay.
So I run this, and I have some stuff set up to go through, and it cleans all the CSVs, validates I didn't make any mistake with referencing cards. It generates the artists, generates any unique IDs, generates the JSON, validates the JSON. I have like a whole setup to make sure that the JSON is in the right format. And then if it passes all of those checks, then it finally commits it. And then I can push it up to the Dusk Till Dawn branch. And
is this the data for the card that was just announced, or the one earlier?
Ruin. I'm working on Widespread Destruction right now. But
okay, so the one Okay, right. Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah,
you
everyone just got pushed up.
Yeah.
And then it gets pushed up to here.
Jesus Christ, it's on Fabrary
and then you
already.
can see this on GitHub.
Wait, so that's what's actually happening when you're doing this? Is like now it's on Fabrary?
No. Philip is an absolute beast and updates all of that separately during spoiler season, and then that's why we have this, so that we can input text here, and then he pulls it, updates it manually on Fabrary, and then once everything cools down, then he swaps back to using the data set.
Insane.
So yeah,
he
we sometimes race to see who can get it in here first, and so that's fun.
Well, you're disadvantaged. I've got you trying to entertain the stream here, so it's, you can blame this one on me.
Yeah. And then so that pushes it up there so that everybody can use it, which you can see if I go to here. You can see Dusk Till Dawn branch and pushes. But this is what it all looks like on the site. I have a whole README for anyone who wants to help out. Or use the site. I try to keep track of any projects who are using the site, just kind of shout them out. So anyone who's using the site or dataset, if you are using it and you're not on here, let me know. I'd love to link to you. And then just a bunch of documentation on all of this for anyone using it or who wants to help me out with adding cards.
So
and then
in terms
step,
of like wanting to help you though, how do you coordinate best with you so that you're not actually working on the same project? Do you have a Discord that you go through, or?
I do have a Discord.
Okay.
So a lot of the times either people on Fabrary will help out, or I'll send a link to my Discord in the chat. And then people can also get in touch with me there for if they have any questions. They also can open up, pull requests if they have anything they want to try to add, which I have some stuff I need to review. And then also I try to keep comprehensive track of what still needs to be done, or any bugs that I've noticed that I need to keep track of. And then, for example, like this is in progress and people can leave comments here for if they want to work on specific things. Something that me and Philip and Hoodwill have been working on is manually linking TCG player IDs to the data set so that people who use it don't have to. TCG player, how they handle their stuff can be a little weird sometimes. And so I actually have it set up so if you go to a card printing, you can go and there's a TCG player ID right here, which I don't know if, there we go. There's some. Oh gosh, there's so many rows.
Is this the 36,000 sheet that we were talking about before?
Yes.
Oh my god.
There we go. Yep. So we have TCG player IDs here, which I have set up to then, if anything has a TCG player ID in the JSON, it will generate the proper link to TCG player, so people can do stuff like I go to Bark One Strapping. It has created the proper TCG player link to the appropriate filter with English, a limited edition rainbow foil, because that was what we had selected right here. If we go to say AFL standard, it will put the appropriate printing here. And then I don't put this into the data set. I feel weird doing it, but if on my site, I have the TCG player affiliate link as well. But this, oh boy, if I can select, this portion is in the data set for any card that has IDs. And so if anyone wants to use, link out to their websites, hopefully that busy work will slowly get community done. And so then people can just link out to the proper TCG player links in the future and not have to deal with trying to figure out what URL to use or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Is there any plan to also integrate with what's the EU version, like Card Market or something?
Card Market? Yeah, they're URLs are a little bit more nested and complex. So for right now, we're trying to focus on TCG player, and then in the future, I would love to get card market in, but trying to balance work on the data set versus work on actually getting cubes done.
And you're judging, and the fact that you gotta actually play the game as well. I mean that does have to happen at some point. Where were you based out of in Michigan, by the way? How we've met before,
I actually was local with you. Yeah, I'm in Grand Rapids.
Oh, okay.
I was. Do you remember? I think the last skirmish before you left Michigan at Legends.
Man, so vaguely. Is that the one I won on the live?
It was like a year and a half. No.
Oh no, that's the one I bubbled out. Oh, I remember that. I was pissed off.
I bubbled you out.
Yeah, they cut to top 4, and I bubbled at 5th, even though it was enough people that it could have been top 8, and they hadn't announced it. Yeah, I remember that. That was a sour event.
Yep.
Oh well.
Yeah, I was the Kano that you played round 1.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, so I was local for a bit, yeah, so I'm a level 2 judge in Michigan. I I try to go to a local event every week or so, and then I'm also keeping up his cards as the spoiled, trying to work on the FabCube, and a lot of stuff.
So James in the chat asked if there was an approval process to this data set, to which I just heard you say that it looks like there are pull requests which you will then merge into probably master. So I'm assuming there are restrictions on the pull request, so no one can push straight to master, right? So I'm assuming we take that as that's the approval process.
Yeah. So anyone can make a if you fork the repo, and you can then make so you can see we have like 25 forks. You can then make a PR from your fork of the repo up to my version of the repo, and that's how people have made these pull requests that I still need to find some time to look at. And
Tyler, would you be able to demonstrate that? Because I would like to know how to do that too.
And while we're on it, by the way, someone is asking the best way to support any of what we're seeing right now. If you don't have the talent to actually get the coding done, like myself, then pretty much I think everyone has a Patreon in some degree, right? There's Talishar Patreon, Fabrary Patreon, FabCube Patreon. And so, if you don't have the skills, but you have the extra $5 or whatever it is, that is a great way to contribute as well. Just plugging that.
Yeah, I think we all have Patreons. We can send you over the links I have it in the about page for my thing. I both have a Patreon and a TCG player affiliate link.
Yeah, I have everyone's at least main site linked in the description, but I can add that.
Perfect, thank you. For the pull requests, I can. Nate, you wanted me to show off how to make a fork.
Yeah, if you could. Sorry, I've been on mute.
No, yeah, definitely. It's pretty simple, I think. If you go to my GitHub, which I'll link I'll send over to Ethan, but then I also have linked in the about page of the FabCube. I think Fabrary has it linked in their about page as well. You can get to this GitHub, and then you have to make a GitHub account. If you do, you make a fork, and we'll say, I'll just rename it to demo. And then you can set it to copy either just the develop branch initially or copy everything. If you want Dusk Till Dawn, so how I do spoilers is when a new set's coming out, I make a new what's called branch, so that people, if they don't want to deal with the spoilers, and as we all know, spoiler season's kind of chaotic, and I'm updating stuff pretty fast. Sometimes I make mistakes, and then people will be like, "Oh, hey, why does this thing have 5 defense instead of 3?" Stuff like that. So if you want to try and not be, if you don't want to do that stuff during that, don't click the don't uncheck this. But otherwise, or if you want all of it, you can uncheck it. But then we create the fork, and GitHub will create the repository. It takes a few seconds, and now whenever I push stuff up, you can use this to sync with what I have. And then if you do this, if you make changes on your own copy, this right here should then change and let you say open a pull request, and then you could merge and it'll make a request like people had back up to what I have, my version, the main repo. So if you have a GitHub account, pretty easy to get going with just making a fork and then being able to run off of that and then pull requests back. It's anyone can fork it. You can, if you want, you could make your own changes, make your own versions. And you know, if you have stuff that I don't have in there that you're like, you know, I want to make some tweaks and make my own type of it, absolutely you can do that. And then yeah, so hopefully relatively easy to make a new fork and then contribute back to it. But if you have specific questions on things that need help with either my Discord or any of these GitHub issues for things that need, I try and any thought I have of, hey, this should probably be updated at some point. Like I even have
there you go, card market
IDs everywhere else. So I try to comprehensively track everything so that, you know, if I don't have the capacity to work on something, but someone else really wants it, it's there for people to comment and be like, hey, I'd want to work on this. And then they can let people know that they're working on it and then make a pull request back up. Yeah. And then for anyone else also using it, one last thing I do, create releases. If you don't want to go through the hassle of, you know, anytime I push something to develop, you can actually, I make versions. So I release versions with, you know, what new data I have, any bug fixes, stuff like that. And you can just pull specifically these versions. And each version has timestamp versions of, you know, CSVs, JSON, all of that. And so I try and keep that as me and Nate found out. My readmes are I change logs. Sometimes I miss things, but most people will reach out and be like, "Hey, this change log was missing this," and I'll update it. And I try to bump versions whenever I break something.
Version 6.0, that nice and clean, not 5.1.9b, whatever. We're good.
No, yeah. And then the final step is I take all that stuff and then I just run this little script I have locally, and the FabCube now has the new card. So I go to the FabCube and go to widespread. New card right there.
Beautiful. So. Okay. Well, great. That was awesome. I think at this point, FabCube is completely covered. There's been some questions in the chat on, you know, if the VOD will stay up and all that. Absolutely. So anyone who ever wants to jump in and contribute, hopefully, I'll add the timestamps and do my best. I mean, when I type in things like create a fork, I mean, to some people that will make sense. To a lot of others, like myself, who knows what the hell's going on. But yeah, part of that first part of the VOD that we are unfortunately not going to be able to recover is more so on the Talishar front. So if you're still working on something, Nate, that we can go back over, that would be, I think, cool. Or even
thanks
Steve.
for letting me ramble.
Oh, of course, man. Or Steve, whatever you're contributing to Talishar, to kind of keep us going. I can also message Phil.
I've still been kind of working on cards in the background. I can share my screen again.
Let me see. I am interested in seeing what the inside of Fabrary looks like, so I'm gonna message.
Yeah, me too, actually. I think he was busy helping Will with something.
Yeah.
Big. So I've still been kind of working on stuff in the background. right now I'm working on the Bannarets because there were some people that requested those on the Talishar Discord server. I had two people both very kindly request those to get added, so I was gonna try to add those really quick. Um, what is going on? Okay.
Is this your like to-do list folder? Because I noticed you were deleting card images as you were going through.
That's this
Oh,
folder,
this folder,
yeah.
okay.
So, oh, interesting. So the Bannarets I had previously deleted to kind of clear this out because I usually use the DTD card code, like the set printing, as the like internal Talishar identifier.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing these promo ones is a little bit tricky. And so what I'm trying to do now is like undo that, just because I'm a little bit ahead of where I kind of expected to be. So I'm
Oh, do we
trying to
have the
delete.
actual set number on those yet? Is that what you're undoing, or?
No, I don't think we do. That's the problem. We don't have the actual set number. Are there just not images for the other one? Let me try to rerun this.
I don't have it up anymore.
Let's see, Bannarets. I'm missing some. So I've got, I think these three, I've got three of them, 179, 180, 181, 160. Oh, I know the problem. 61, I think. Hang on.
Oh, 3 of them are LGS, 3 of them are Fab. Do you see that in terms of their
Oh,
code?
is that?
Yeah, because
Oh
they're from 3
no.
different places, or 2 different places rather. There's like the Card Market promo bundle, and then I forget
Oh,
what they said the
right.
other ones come from.
So,
Maybe it's like Buy Box promo or something. With your LGS. But yeah, there's 2
well,
different codes.
that'll take a little doing. So Fab is 161. So it's 161. So basically, I'm gonna add this as a new source. So the reason I put limits on what sets I pull from is because I don't really need to generate code for like the history pack printings, for example, because we convert those to the main card printing internal to Talishar. And the reason for that is just so I don't have to like code out a new card like every single time a new version of a card comes out, I just want to have to code one of them. But things get tricky kind of in spoiler season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we need to kind of be flexible to account for that. So people from the Talishar Discord, I can actually just open that
When
right
are
now
Bannarets
and
coming?
pull
How
them
long till Banneret? That's the first thing I see.
No. Look at Beef the Noob is very kind, is in a nice, understanding way,
Oh,
sending
there
love.
you
Love it.
go. That's the right way to
So
communicate.
shout out to Beef the Noob if you're listening in. I really appreciate these kind of messages. So Beef the Noob, this is for you. We're working on Bannarets right now. So all right, let's see if this works. So, for those just tuning in, it's been a while since we did Talishar stuff. What we just saw was Tyler's FabCube and the data set that he creates. So, this is kind of the end result of Tyler's data set. And I created this utility to generate actual code from that data set. So you can see here, yeah, now we just got all these updates with the extra bannerets, which is absolutely perfect. That's what we wanted to do.
Wait, real quick on the
So
images.
we,
Isn't there like a mask that you've started to use or something to actually fix the bottom crop? Like when it cuts it to a square instead of having like the little end of the text box on the bottom. Haven't you been using a mask on that,
yeah.
or no?
So yeah, let me see. That was something that Atasis did. I'll see if he's available right.
All right, just remember
Are
this is on
you?
stream for DM purposes. Just be careful.
Oh yeah, good point. Okay. I think it doesn't matter, but that's a good point. Um, FabDev. So yeah, so Atasis, he did that and he like manually did a whole bunch of those.
It was manual?
Uh
Holy shit.
yeah, that was all manual. And so he usually waits until after the set comes out to actually add all those.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yeah, it makes sense. Highest res image and all that.
yeah, and so what this thing that you see here, these where did it go? Oh, these ones. This is done programmatically. This is something very simple that I did just to like what it does, it basically cuts off a little bit of the top, it cuts off a little bit of the bottom, and then it sticks them together. And this is just kind of like a temporary sort of thing until Atasis uh does the manual adjusting. Sorry, he sent me another message. I'm responding. Yeah, just talking about how you make the crops images. Okay, so yeah, so that's that. Now I think I uploaded this. Sorry, did that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I was just gonna check something on this side.
Okay. So the other thing I need to do is the new front end is another repository, so I can just commit to main and then it will automatically upload all the new images. So that's another really nice thing about this new React front end is that it'll automatically upload stuff. It deploys it directly from GitHub. You've probably seen me like dragging and
Yep.
dropping files to the server. Yeah, so the old front end, that was all manual. If we hadn't set it up with the new front end to do it automatically, I'd have to go into like all these different image files and you'd have to drag them over and it's just kind of a pain. So that's another nice thing about the more modern React kind of strategy. Thanks, guys. Oh, just asked a question. Did somebody ask a question in chat?
No, it was he's saying he's responding to the guy who said this but in a nice way. And he's
Oh,
saying, "What do you mean? I didn't say it in a mean way." That's the kind of back and forth.
sorry, it
I
was
think
not
I don't think they're even
implying
tuned
that
in
it
this.
was
No,
not a
no,
nice way.
we're nothing personal, Jimmy. If that's Jimmy Lee, we love you. If it's not Jimmy Lee, you're probably still pretty cool.
Okay. So now we've got our Bannarets. We can go back to my to-do list. If I can find my to-do list, where did it go? Do. New cards, I think is what it's called. All right, perfect. Extra large. So, does anybody have a preference of what Banneret seems the
Ooh,
best? Quicken Token seems pretty
a
good.
favorite banner. Let's check these out. Or sorry, Bannaret.
Could we get a poll in chat or something?
Yeah, here we go. We'll do the poll in chat. So the most useful data you've ever seen. The best Banneret incoming. Yeah. Let's see. Most people probably don't know the name. I'll list them by what they do.
Yeah, that makes
Which
sense.
Banneret to code. There is the defense. +1 defense. There is the gain 1. +1 life. There is the +1 resource. At least they're all kind of on theme here. Add option. Courage. Token. Oh shoot, actually I can only put 4 4 pull options. Alright. Not as useful as I thought. I can't bump it all the way to 6. Alright, no one cares about Spellbane, Aegis, and Quicken's more boring than Courage. We're gonna go live with these 4. Boom.
What? You don't like Quicken?
Compared to Courage, come on, it's a new token. You gotta hype it up. Quicken's said and done.
Well, I don't know. I mean, courage is like +1 attack. Quicken is like +1 action point in a way,
Mhm.
right?
Oh, no,
So
in
I
terms
don't know.
of viability, the quicken is a big deal. I mean, saving you a soul use, and you don't need to have it pumped right. That one's a big deal. I just mean in terms of how to
Yeah.
code things. Yeah, okay, so the votes
And
are coming through.
so
People care about courage. They want to see how it works.
okay. So before we resume that, it looks like we just got John Atassis. He just joined. If you want to talk to him about how he does the card cropping.
Yeah, Tassus, you willing to hang for a bit?
Yeah, I can hang for a bit.
Hey, yeah, we were just going over what it takes to move new cards into Fabrary and all that, and I had mentioned the new cards that we were looking at so far didn't have the crop done. And then Nate mentioned this was kind of your specialty. Is there anything you want to share on the process there, just so people can appreciate the work you're doing? Or
Yeah, so it's actually not possible to make this completely automated. So every single crop you see is manually done by me.
really,
Automating it,
you can't do like a
no,
mask on the
it's
bottom piece?
so
Interesting.
the fun fact here is that LSS is crazy inconsistent with the cards that they have in the card image gallery, and if I were to just put them all blanket into it with a mask on the bottom, some of them will be off by a pixel or two,
I see.
just across the board. And so I could either do something where I throw them all in at once and then check out the ones that are a little bit off and then throw them into something else and then check out those to figure out which ones are still a little off. And then I could do all that work, or I could do the slightly simpler by a little bit of just manually doing them all.
Wow.
Which
Props to you. I remember when that rolled out initially, because everyone had gotten so used to the crop on like the old UI and all that. But then as the beta was coming out and Talishar started to look more polished, and then you added the cropped functionality as well. I remember that was just a huge moment of, geez, the game's just looking so much better. So props to you. I think I forget the day it happened, but I called it out on stream as just a really, really just slight visual lift that went a long way in showing that there was real thought and care put into all these crop squares. It's not just a shortcut anymore. Like even this Korsham that we're seeing now, that is
oh yeah,
well done.
Korsham, those fabled landmarks, those ones alone took me like an hour each just to get them right. But the first pass of all of those cards, the specific moment you're talking about when they were all updated, that took months.
Mm-hmm.
Just that one pass, because there's like a lot of cards. I don't know the exact amount of cards that I had to update there, but there were a lot of cards that I had to do all at once. So that initial making the crops there was just, that took months of work with all the manual setup going on.
Right. Yeah. At that point, we were already like 6 sets out or something.
Yeah, it was. I think. I want to say that was a little bit after Dynasty, maybe.
Ooh, that's gorgeous.
Look at how clean the edges are. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's hot. Wait, so are you ever manipulating how the image itself kind of fits in that square, or are you really leaving the top part mostly as is because it's already squared off with the text box, and your focus is just cleaning up the bottom portion?
It's always just cleaning up the bottom portion, though with some of the Marvels, I do get a little bit more creative freedom because they don't have the same border. Like, Nate, if you want to pull up one of the Codex Marvels, those ones might be...
Do you remember where you... Oh, was it in Patreon images? Is that...
Probably in Patreon images. It might be in the additional images folder.
Oh, look at this border. That one is really nice. Yeah, actually, I bought one of these because I made a rock deck. I love that deck.
Dude, I'm like 20-1 with rock on stream. I don't know. I don't know why. The card functions on Talishar specifically.
There's more to it. Yeah.
That's it.
Wow. Look at this.
I think the codexes are in additional images.
Oh, are they?
It's still in that folder, but in the additional images of that folder.
Oh, I see. I see. Oh
Yeah, there they
man.
are.
Ooh, sexy. Wow,
That
that's
I am
seamless.
so proud of the border there. It's almost seamless. These ones took longer than the Fabled landmarks did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Look at how
freaking
the
perfect.
leaf like overlaps the side. Yeah,
Nice.
that's pretty cool.
I want that as a coaster. I think you need to start selling merch.
Maybe I should.
Do you
There
have
is
the?
somebody that sells like the. Have you seen the pixelated tokens guy? Those are
Yeah,
really
those are
cool.
cool. I'm a fan. Do you have the Merline one by chance? I
I
I don't
don't
think the frame
believe
was
so.
anything special in that though. To be fair. But,
I wonder if Fabrary has that as a shortcut. Oh no! So sometimes Fabrary they have like shortcuts that you can type like CNC.
mm-hmm.
I was
Wait,
gonna see if they have one for.
isn't there a way to
Huh?
find the things a lot? Phil had said that it's hidden somewhere on Fabrary. Oh my god, just
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Oh, what the.
That's
Okay, everyone, this
awesome.
is not a real card, everyone. You understand? Please, that is not a spoiler. Ay, ay, ay. That is hilarious.
Things a lot is put into your banner zone from your grave. Oh my gosh.
Fangs. A lot.
Yeah, I remember when somebody posted that. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Atassis, I know we kind of ambushed you. Do you have this available to like show people, or are you interested to show people the process, or?
Yeah, I could probably do that. I've got something pulled up. Okay, let me.
I have a baby version I could share as well of making the card back a square for the Patreon. It was harder than I thought.
Yeah, are you guys seeing my
Oh shoot, I gotta click it.
little window?
Yeah, I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, so I was not able to find a free copy of Photoshop, so I'm just using GIMP for everything that I do. So for the set release, we're going in my Outsiders release for all of these thumbnails. I still need to set up the one for Dusk Till Dawn. I'm probably going to do that later. I have until the card image gallery is released to actually make these. But I have everything organized into folders over here. So all of the assassin cards, all the ninja cards, ranger, all of the above, and then the interesting ones down here at the bottom, the fabled and the codexes. But if we go into the assassin cards here, I then further have them differentiated into top and bottom. And if I open these, you'll see every single card, just all of them available right here. And these are all the bottom half, right? And then if I open up the other side, which is named bottom, even though it's the top half, don't worry about it. And I open these up, I've got all of the top halves of all the cards. So let's say we want this spike with inertia here. I will turn on the spike with inertia and turn on the spike with inertia up here. And then this mask, once I turn it on, makes the thumbnail. And the mask, if we want to see what that actually fully looks like, I can put this into normal. It is just a random image with the little bottom part erased out. And you can just turn on the rest of them, make it all happen. So once I've made a general mask, I then have to go in and manually put every single card that could fit that mask into this folder for every single type and every single folder. And then once I've done that and the mask has been made, I can start actually exporting all of these. But the problem then becomes that the mask doesn't work for all of them. So every once in a while, I'm going to have to go into this mask and edit it, erasing some bits, adding some bits back in, just because it doesn't work with everything. So there is still that manual portion while I'm exporting. But really, there's the tedious process of putting every single card into these two folders to make sure that I can have that ability to quickly edit it manually.
So when you're exporting, you have to be manually toggling through and say, okay, I'm exporting Spike. Now I'm exporting Spike with Frailty. So you hide Spike with Inertia, open up Spike with Frailty. Is that, or can you batch export these things?
Because of the fact that some of them are different, I have to do them all manually, and I have to make
yeah.
sure that they look good when I export them.
True.
Yeah. But thankfully, key commands are amazing. So if I see, oh yeah, this one looks good, easy key commands, one card takes like 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's when things become problematic that'll take a minute or two to fix.
Sweet. Yeah, luckily, I have cheap Photoshop because my partner, she's still a student, so I get like the student discount on Photoshop. But I don't know, you all are making me think GIMP is pretty capable, honestly. Tyler was using it, you're using it. I also resort to Figma a lot of the time. Figma, at least for something like this with like masks, it can handle. I don't know, have you used that one before or no?
No, I found GIMP and I was just like, I'm gonna use this one. I'm kind of lazy that way. First one that works, you know.
Well, here, I can share this on stream then. So my like baby version of this, for example, with like putting the card back in for Talishar. This is like the base card back, right? I made this in Illustrator, just traced over with there was like an old card back article that came out that showed like a concept piece of the card back drawn like this. I traced it over in Illustrator and manually fixed a lot of things, added some things that weren't in the original back, like this part in particular, like it didn't have the like eyes on the snap jaws or whatever they're called. It didn't have the symbols, it didn't have the text. So like I went in and added all that. But it is like, I don't know, like 70% just an Illustrator copy of the original concept art. Then I went in, of course, made the little gradient circle and added the Legal of Aya logo. But to actually move it over to a square in Talishar that looks good, I set up the dimensions. I don't know why it's 601 by 601, but there you go. And then you can see, oops, wrong one. If I just move it over to the square itself, it looks ugly because at this point the edges are running off. So similar to what you're doing, just made like a simple mask of the bottom bits, right? And then like added like kind of the exact curve I needed to have it all match, and then overlaid it so it looks more intentional than messy. And that's how I made the card back.
Nice.
Much simpler process. Also, speaking of these card backs, I have a bone to pick with Dragon Shield. I love Dragon Shield a lot. Actually, this is not a problem with Dragon Shield. I take it back. I love Dragon Shield. We'll just leave it at that. But for whatever reason, when I made the original version, I mean, look at the quality on this one. The DPI is really strong for whatever reason. Then you look at the inverted one, and it is not the same DPI, even though, like, I promise you, I changed no settings. You see that? On the export in Illustrator. So I'm not quite sure why these aren't the same, like, crisp quality. But anyway, like, I didn't really notice it, and I thought, like, it's fine. It'll still print okay, because these are sized to be just a normal card back, for one. So this is, like, the Dragon Shield version of it, because you can't print the edges. So I masked out the edges so that when they're white, it doesn't look like, you know, they're really, like, cropped on a corner or anything. So I sent this off to Dragon Shield to print. And in their new sleeve crafter UI, you can't really like test the zoom in and get too clear of an image of like what the sleeve will look like once it's produced. So it looked fine. Like you look at this, it doesn't look pixelated, like from this sizing. It looks totally fine. So I sent this off, printed it, and yet I got the sleeves in, right? We'll see if you can, we'll open one up. See if it'll focus. I got the sleeves in. Oh, camera, how are you not zooming in on this? What is going on? Focus. Okay, camera like really doesn't want to do it. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, we're losing it, people. But okay, I promise you. For whatever reason, the pixelation is noticeable. It's not bad. Like from the normal distance you'll sit from the card sleeve, like you probably won't notice it. But when I compare it to what the white ones looked like, when I printed the white ones, it is noticeable. It is an actual difference. The DPI is just not quite right, and yet, for whatever reason, it's a lot more apparent on the print than it actually even is digitally. So I'm not super happy with that, because, this is something I intend to sell. It's how I can support the YouTube channel. And to sell something that's, like, not as high quality as the last one bugs me a little bit. But, when you order 20 custom sleeves, that's a lot to try to just refund and fix. But luckily, I have a good relationship with Dragon Shield, and they let me reorder. So that was sick. Well done. Well done, Dragon Shield. So I don't quite know what to do with these. I don't know if I really want to sell them because they're just not right. But I have so many of them, Anyway. Content creator struggles.
They're now limited edition sleeves.
That's right. I'll charge double. They're misprints. They're crimped. But yeah. If anyone wants to jump back in on the screen share, I'm toggling back. Put these away.
Yeah, I can share again. Sorry. I was just looking at the spoiler schedule. I was like, I need more spoilers, please. All
I
right,
actually should
so
probably hop off. I need to work on my spoiler. Speaking of spoilers, so I need to get that ready for tonight.
Oh, where's it dropping? Where can we find it?
I'm doing a mini scavenger hunt. I was going to do it on Twitter, but Twitter just announced that they are hard capping people's viewing of tweets. Like 30 minutes ago, they announced that. So I might just start posting it on the hint to find it on Discords everywhere, and then after I've given some people
limit of
tweets? I don't know what's going on.
Jesus. All right.
So I'll post on the main Discord as well as some other places, and then once people start finding it, I'll post the actual card art into the main spoiler channel. So.
Okay, let me just make sure. What's your name on here?
The FabCube.
Oh wait, duh. Oh, duh. Yeah, what the hell? Oh,
go back up.
Right here.
The center. Yeah.
So we've got you at noon tomorrow, basically, for the reveal.
Yeah, I might, if I finish in time, I might be bumping that up to midnight, or maybe a little after your stream, just so, like you mentioned, it's a good time for people across the world. So the noon is if I don't finish in time, but if I finish in time, I'll be changing that.
Okay, sweet. Looking forward to it. Don't steal my slot.
No, yeah, I'll make sure not to be at the same spot.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for hanging out. It's been fun.
Thanks for having us. It was great talking.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon, Tyler, if I ever make it back to Michigan. Or are you going to the Chicago Battle Harden? No.
I'm not, but I will be judging at U.S. Nationals. So I will be at U.S. Nats for anyone there.
Okay, sweet. We'll see you then. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, see you then. See y'all later.
you. All right, cool. So back to I think Banneret of Courage is the one that everybody wanted to see.
Yes.
So this is a little bit tricky because, like I said, I usually like to use the normal set identifier as like the internal Talishar identifier. So what I do for as kind of a workaround for this is I create like a global variable that holds the temporary identifier, I guess. It's not a great system, but that's what I've done. So what I usually like to do when I'm implementing a new card is I'll look for something that is similar that I've done in the past, and in this case, something with a charge effect is Spirit of Irina. I think this is the only one currently that does something special when you charge it. So what I'll do is I'll look for Dian 066, figure out where that is. And then 66. So we'll find all the places in the code that that's referenced. So it looks like it's just right here in the add to soul function. So we can add a new one.
Oh, look at that little flavor text line. The spirit of Arenia
Oh no!
is inside you always. I've seen that pop up in game.
I'm showing one of my Easter eggs. I'm spoiling my Easter eggs. Yeah, I like to try to add little Easter eggs like that to cards whenever I can, whenever I think about it or get ideas for stuff.
You better
Like
add
another
one for the
one that
Leviat card. I'm telling you. You better. It deserves it.
is
Deserves
it
like
one of
5
the
lines.
is it one of the ones that I know about, or is it
Oh,
remaining to be
no,
seen?
mine. I'm talking mine.
Oh,
The
that's
one you'll
not
find out
for
about.
like another couple hours yet, right? All right,
Mhm.
I'll code that one off stream so it doesn't ruin the surprise for everybody for the Easter eggs. So what we'll want to do, this one's a little bit interesting, right? Because Spirit of Irina, it doesn't do a thing when you charge it. It actually goes into play, which is not in the soul. So we actually want to add a similar kind of block of code down here in the else, which is the add it to soul case, right? You can see we're like adding something to the soul, and then we're incrementing how many stuff got added to the soul. So we'll probably want to add abilities when you charge it. Um, Actually, does it specifically say when you charge, or is it when you add it to soul? When this is charged. Oh, that's challenging.
Ooh, boy.
So, because we need to make it not do that when you charge it, or when you don't charge it, basically. Interesting. Switch dollar card ID. So case. And the other thing I like to do is we'll need to do this. Courage banner.
So it's better to just
So
like make the rule than the exception, right? Because you could, in theory, just say doesn't work with Halo of Illumination, like boom. But that's
gosh,
messier to
no,
work
that would
with.
be insane to try to code that out, right?
Okay. Okay.
So, I mean, that's a good point because that is one, that's one way that you would think to code all this stuff out. But the problem is when there's 1,000 cards, what happens if they add, Halo of Illumination 2, right? You're just creating all these little opportunities for yourself to kind of get out of sync with the card base.
Hmm.
And so I try to make sure that everything follows the rules kind of as written. So instead of saying like, oh, this doesn't work with Halo of Illumination, I would try to specify, oh, this is from a charge. This is not from a charge, right? And that's kind of closer to what you see written on the card. It says when this is charged, create a courage token. It does not say when it's added to your soul from not Halo of Illumination, right?
Sure.
So but yeah, so that's a really good point, but we can, one step at a time, basically. So, and I suspect that's also a bug with Spirit of Irina, unfortunately, because I think this one says that it's supposed to only be charge. Oh no,
No,
actually,
that
this
one's
is when it's put
anything.
into your
Yeah,
soul.
yeah.
Oh no! Okay, so I'm gonna have to. All right, well, one thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Are we bug swatting live
So
again? Yeah.
yeah, we're bug spotting live. All right. So, basically what we want to do is we just want to say like, okay, we got here, we're doing something. So let's go ahead and do our first functional test. So I don't know why I really like to use Take Flight as my charge test card. I just really like the card, I guess. So, oh, I clicked the wrong card. So pitch. So now charge this one. So you can see it did say test. So now that that is working, we can change this to play aura. And then what this function does is it'll actually put the aura into play. And I believe courage is DTD 232. And this is right.
Good
So
God.
now
That's mind blowing. Yeah,
So
pitch,
pitch
then charge.
and then charge.
Oh my
So,
god,
and you can
just
see
like
it.
that.
Present.
Holy.
So I do suspect, and like let's do some testing, right? We suspect this is a bug, so let's just try it before we try to fix something that's not. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can see that because it put that into Soul, it created a courage token, but that's a bug. So what we need to do is we need to figure out where all is add soul called, which is probably going to be
Oh god,
a
everywhere.
decent number of places. Yeah, but the good thing is that I think charge is one function, so we may be able to just do add soul, so it's not that one. Permanent abilities. Is it game logic? Oh no, don't tell me it's this. Alright. Game project. So we need to figure out where all charge happens. Here we go. Oh, finish charge. Oh. Oh! Is this... Alright, I found a better place to put this.
You can just make it trigger on finish charge. Is that what you're finding out?
Yeah,
Huh,
yeah.
Very cool.
Instead of where you add it to soul, we can put it where you finish charge. So that means that we'll need to move this. So what that is, it's just saying, hey, use this global variable. We need that here. And now I think that should fix it. So if we do that.
Okay.
So that works.
Yep, that's still consistent.
When we test this.
Oh!
We did it. We fixed the bug.
Fixed. That's
Good
beautiful.
job, everyone. And then that's pretty much it. So we can upload this one.
Well, so when you made that global variable, though, it specifically says card courage banner. Are you gonna have to like manually input every single banner in that line at some point, or maybe I'm not
yeah, I
understanding
mean, we
this
can
correctly.
do another one. We'll do another one. There's still 5 more to do. Banneret of Courage.
So all the Bannarets then get input into the game logic code. Is that what's happening there?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. So we're gonna do it kind of the same way that we just did that one. So, let's do. I want to do Quicken. It's developer's
yes.
choice this time. We did stream's choice last time. Because I personally am quite partial to Quicken tokens.
Oh, that's funny.
So
You're calling
now
them
what I'll
Courage
do-
Banner, Quicken Banner. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. This is all gonna be deleted when we find out
Yeah, the real thing.
the real thing. I'll usually go back through and clean them up. But so Quicken banner on that.
A lot of people are saying in chat, "This is awesome. This is nuts. Massive respect. This is amazing." I am equally awestruck at the moment. This is to see it happen live. Like, I don't know. I've just never thought about the process. I thought it would be strictly just, a command prompt that you're dumping things into.
Oh gosh,
no. This is
Right.
like multiple tabs of code, a live like test client, importing and exporting of images, and oh my god. Tons of work, a lot of opportunities for things to go wrong, and yet we're seeing it all go right.
All right, so let's test now. I think this should be working. Yep. Hey, what do you know? It worked.
Beautiful.
I mean, we can test this. And that's perfect.
Nice.
So that's it. That one's done.
Jimmy is
Why
getting
did this
their
one have-
wish granted.
Huh?
Jimmy, the one who asked in the
Oh,
Fat
right.
Discord, getting their wish granted.
Jimmy, this is for you. All right. So what was this one? Banner of Gallantry.
There's the
You can
Spell Void Aegis.
upload.
Yeah.
Bannarets. Yeah, the other one should be quite fast. I mean, as you've seen, it takes me about as much time to upload everything as it does to code it out. I mean, it depends on the card, right? But because these are all quite similar, they're pretty fast. What was it? Spellbane?
Oh
Banner,
yeah, what
we'll
is
call it?
is it Spellbane Aegis? I'll pull it up. Aegis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spellbane Aegis.
Spellbane banner. All right, quiz time, everybody. What's the card code for Spellbane Aegis?
246.
Ah, you were right. Good.
Oh, I've got it pulled up on I'm cheating. But yes.
246. Hey, this was not an open book quiz. Just kidding. All right, so now we can try it. I think this is what, Fab 163? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Take flight. Yep, there it is. Banneret protection. Upload. Oh, I've not been. All right, forget it. I'll just batch do
Yeah,
those.
just batch the Bannarets.
So now I think these are a little bit different. So this
Yeah.
one's +1 buff. Not as excited about that one. Oh, these are going to be pretty wild. So the next time you hit, you do stuff.
Yeah, actually,
Next
isn't
time you
the defense one, when this is charged to your hero, so the next action card you defend with this turn gets +1. That one might be, well, I don't know if it'll be more complicated, but yeah, the next one would be resource if hit, and then +1 life if hit. Yeah, so they're all conditional. So this will be an extra line or two.
Yeah,
I would think.
let's do life ban. Just and then this one is LGS 180. So yeah, these are all going to be a little bit more complicated, but that is okay. So we kind of went through this earlier, but I'll go through this again because that was like 4 hours ago at this point. What this is gonna do, we're gonna kind of borrow some code from like Plunder Run, if you guys recall Plunder Run before it was
Baby.
banned. It was everywhere. So this one kind of had two different sort of types of effects, right? One is the next attack you play gains +3, and one is the next time it hits, you do something. So this one we're going to kind of be borrowing some code from this first ability of Plunder Run, which is a buff that kind of persists between attacks. And so the first step of that is always going to be to do what we call adding a current turn effect. So what that does, it creates like a buff that just kind of sits out in the wild to do stuff, and it'll trigger, and I'll show you guys how to add triggers in a little bit. But first of all, let's test and make sure that all happened correctly. I'm getting too much stuff here now. So we'll charge Banneret of Salvation. So you can see, you've probably seen these little buffs in the left-hand corner. That's actually what does that. It's one line of code. It's just this add current turn effect, and that's how all those different things happen.
That's amazing. You'd
But
think
now,
obviously if you go into what that means, that's where you'd find the fact that it's like pushing it to the left side, cropping the image, has a hover, blah blah blah, right?
right, and that's what's really powerful. I'm sure you guys have heard the term game engine before, right? Is it's where you create this sort of framework that makes it a lot easier to do the things that you need to do, right? So if for take flight I had to duplicate all the code for like pushing an image to the left side of the screen, that would just not be maintainable. it'd be really crazy. You wouldn't be able to do it once you get up to 1,000 cards or whatever. So what you do is you create an engine, you create a framework that'll let you do stuff like that. So that's kind of what a game engine is it abstracts concepts down into these little reusable kind of chunks. So now that we've got that, we've tested that, we can figure out what does this effect actually do. And I mentioned earlier we're going to borrow some code from Plunder Run, so we're going to search for arc 170, which is arc 170. Oops. So this is where you add the attack modifier. So the first thing we need to do is we need to say if the combat effect is active. So in this case, we'll actually need to go to the Dusk till Dawn version of that function. Then we need to grab our constant. We'll define that as a global.
So what's the point of making it a Dusk till Dawn combat effect as opposed to just a combat effect, just baseline? Like,
so
any
that's
functional difference, or
that's
just like
how it
categorization?
knows. That's how it knows where to look for this code, right? So if you look at all these, there's probably hundreds of these, and if the server every time had to figure out what does this effect need to do, if it had to look through every single effect, it would kind of slow down the server.
Okay.
So this is just a way that I've organized them to make it a little bit more um efficient. It's kind of like, have you ever heard of a tree data structure before?
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
probably not. So it's just a way of improving lookup time, basically. So yeah, that's why that does that. So what we need to do is look at that card to see the next time you hit. So that doesn't care about whether it's like an attack action or if it's a sword attack or whatever. It's just every attack. So and then this was Bannerets of Salvation. So what this is going to do is it's just going to say that this effect applies to this chain link. And now we can go to projects, effect, hit, effect. So in this case, I just know where this is, so I'm just searching for it directly. But you can see right here, this is where that Plunder Run code is. So we can add that global variable up here. And actually, you can see where I added some global variables from the Outsiders set, the Blood Rot, Pox, Frailty, and Inertia. Because these were spoiled as the promo tokens before they were actually, we saw the set tokens. So that's why those are there.
What does the CID mean on the tokens themselves?
Nothing. That was just, I think it stands for card ID, and for this set, for some reason, I decided to do card. I just forgot that I had done that last set. It's a hobby project, everyone, as you can see. So I think when you want to destroy it, you have to do return 1, but then the next time you hit this turn, gain 1. So now what we need to do is look for how you gain health. Oops, not like that. So amount and player. Oh my gosh. So we know this is always 1. And player is main player. And now we can test it.
So was there there was no like line of like limiter text? It only triggers the next time, or is that like what?
The next time you hit, yeah.
So how did that look like in the code again? Return
That's
one?
just
Okay.
this return one. This is this is really bad. Like for this is an older function. So what that means is returning one, the thing that calls this then knows to remove it. But if you look at some of the other functions, it's a lot better. You set this remove variable and then it handles it within that function. So I don't know. I just didn't want to refactor this live on
All
stream
good,
when
all
there's
good.
like other stuff we could be doing.
As long as it's functional, I
So
was just
yeah.
worried. Yeah.
Well, we don't know if it's
Oh,
functional. We'll
yep,
test
true,
it,
true.
right? So, okay, so once this hits, we should theoretically go up to 41. So let's see if that actually happens. And we did not. So, next time, now we have to figure out why. Well, this is charge your hero
Wait, had you
soul.
refreshed it yet? Because I think you'd already played Take Flight and charged the thing before you pushed out the new line. I would try it one more time. So I'm pretty sure that had already been there.
Let's charge your hero soul the next time you hit. I don't think that's gonna matter, but we can
No,
see.
it didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it didn't. What do you mean, unfortunately? Now we get to show everybody how you fix bugs. So, what I like to do, let's go outside this switch statement, first of all. Did have that there. What I would like to do is just make sure that we're actually even getting here. Do we do? Oh, you know why? I know why. Actually, I already know why. It's because this isn't a DTD card. This is a was it an LGS card, right? So it doesn't know to look for it in the DTD file.
Oh,
So
check that out.
what we need to do is do function combat effect active.
So this is why you hold off on the implementation of promos early, because in theory you do this now, but eventually you'll have to retrofit to calling it the DTD set number. Whew.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's fine. It was this is all for little, sorry, what was his name?
Jimmy.
It's all for little Jimmy. We're doing it all for little Jimmy. So this is what we need to do. So I suspect we need to actually do well, you know what we can do. It's not so bad. Switch. So we can just make a backup and then do like case LGS. Was it 183?
Oh, good question. We were doing the life gain one. That is 180. Yep.
So we can just override the set to just make it always to just always look in here for this particular card, and then this should work fine. All right, let's try that.
Fingers crossed.
Nope. Okay, that's fine.
Well, where did the line of text go that said gain 1? Is that on a different screen somewhere?
It's in. Oh.
Yeah, I thought you deleted that. Or.
Oh. Wait. Combat effect active. Because there's also the effect hit effect, right?
Yeah.
Because we also need to. Effect hit. Well, this shouldn't matter, dude. This isn't split. Alright, we need to just do debugging really quick. Alright, let's try it again.
All right. So this is, you're saying debugging, you're going to look at like some log that's generated? Or,
Well, yeah, so you see I'm writing it out here, but
Oh,
this is
yep.
gonna be a mess. This is gonna be a mess. Yeah, this is not helpful. Alright, that's fine. Well, if you don't succeed at first,
try
try something
again.
else.
Mhm.
Try something else. So what we want to do is go to effect, hit effect. So we will do main layer if combat effect active. So we'll write out here that we're like, what is the ID? And then we'll also write out here that we're here. And here we'll write out really here. This is where things get kind of hairy.
little bit.
Let's charge that. I'll do this. So it only printed out this, which means basically it's not finding it as active.
Right,
So
'cause
were you gonna
if
say
it,
something?
yeah, because if it did, then that's what you were testing with the line of text. It would just write out here, really here, yada yada.
Exactly.
Where
Yeah.
did that one piece of code go though, where you actually wrote out the life gain and all that?
That was here.
Oh, that was okay. Different screen entirely.
Effect, hit effect. So yeah, that's this function right here. We're trying to
Effective
figure
effect.
out basically why is it not getting in there. I think it's because it's not finding this combat effect to be active, which is here. So we can see you can see if it gets into here.
Well, there's a lot of test being spammed. Was that what we were looking for? I forget. Test. Okay, well, it's something.
It is getting in there. So why isn't it? DTD. Because we've got. Wait. Oh no. Ah! I took it out of here. Okay. That's why. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty much just debugging, right? That's kind of what it is. All right, try one more time. So we fixed a bug. We don't know if this is gonna fix everything.
We're looking for that beautiful 41. Oh, it
no, we did
happened! There we go. Woo!
There.
Deep breaths, everybody. Deep breaths. Talishar saved.
Thankfully, we're not coding on the live server right now. I think that's the card, right? Like, that's what it's supposed to do, is the next time you hit, we gain a life. So I think we got it. So
I
now
mean,
we can do our whole...
Well, in theory, do you need to check as well, like, you know, what happens when someone blocks that attack versus the next one hitting? Or...
Well, I mean, we can if you want, but I'm pretty confident that it should work. So... he's got... Let's see...
Block 6. Boom. Beautiful. Effect is sticky.
Uh-oh.
Now you attack with... No, you can attack with, like...
Well, no, 'cause
oh, it disappeared.
See the buff? It disappeared.
Oh, look, there you go. See, had to check it.
Oh, no, you know what? I know, you're right. Oh, man. I know why. Function is combat effect persistent. Alright. See, that's why, like I said, we need to do this all the time. I need to borrow everybody to help me debug stuff, make sure I'm doing things right. Alright. Okay, so basically we need to say that this combat effect should persist between chain lengths, unless we specifically delete it, that is. So, alright, let's try again. Take flight, charge this, block it out, turn off manual mode, not good.
All right, one more attack. Let's see
And
it.
then,
Oh, well, it does say attack
With
action
Raiden.
card in theory, so Raiden shouldn't work.
oh, that's true.
The like bolting blade or V.
But V is gonna make me like charge stuff. Oh well, that's fine. Alright.
All right,
So now we
41.
should go to 41. Yeah, we
Okay,
did
okay,
it. Alright.
nice, nice.
Good job, team. We
So is it worth checking then if you swing with Raiden and it hits, just to make sure it doesn't gain a life? I don't know if that
probably,
should be
yeah.
safe in your code.
I mean, it should be safe, but I also thought the last thing should be safe too, so.
Oh no!
Oh no. Wait, no, it should, because it says the next time you hit. It does not
Oh,
say
it doesn't say.
attacks.
Okay, it doesn't say card. You're right. You're right. That's true. So one of them says next action card, but that's Banneret of Resilience. That's different. That's not this one. You're right. All right,
Yeah,
it's safe. It's safe. Ship it. In the words of James White.
Alright, so now I can just upload this really quick. That's everything. Then we can do Banner Salvation. So that one's live. Now I need to take a drink of water because that was
Absolutely.
an ordeal.
Well, honestly, we can probably call it here if you want. That kind of ran the gamut of, what it takes to input something into Talishar. I mean, we saw when it was easy. We saw when it was tough. We saw what it takes to actually go through and fix a couple things. So I was planning on probably ending at around 4. But we can just, let you take your break, kick back, and expect that next 5 p.m. spoiler, and then that'd be it.
Probably keep coding, to be honest, but it's okay. Is there anybody in stream like has questions about anything or?
Let's see. Everyone was really complimentary. At first, I haven't seen any comments or questions pop up recently. So, last chance, everybody. Any questions for Oot the Monk, Nate, before we let him go? Honestly, I'm a little intrigued in how Banneret of Resilience will work, because that one is also quite different, but I don't want to go through another saga if you're not ready. So people saying they love you. You're really impressed.
Do you want to do Banneret of Resilience?
Yeah, no, honestly, yes. I'm interested enough in coding personally that I'd like to see one more kind of tough solve. If you're down.
All right, we're gonna call this one Block Banners.
Makes sense.
Because why not? This one, I think it should be a little bit easier just because we can kind of follow the template from this one. So, I think it was 170 now, right? Yeah. So, okay. So we added our constants. We need to add it to this.
Right, and this one specifically is looking for when it's charged, which we've already solved that. The next action card you defend with this turn gets +1. So I guess the only new check that would need to be added is action card specifically.
Okay, so actually, we may not need this. So I'm kind of getting a flick flack vibe from this card. Does that make sense? The next card you defend with this turn is a card with combo. It gains +2.
Yep, similar. So
I think we might try to.
Yeah, it'd just be action card instead of combo and +1 instead of +2.
Probably right, exactly. So I think we don't, yeah, we don't need to do that. So we created that. Let's see what other stuff we may need to do. So, um, we are gonna need to do this game logic thing, right? Because that's the first thing that we always want to do is add our effect. That's gonna tell us that we have stuff to do, basically. Do, do, do. And so now, let's let this guy attack. Wait, how are we gonna? Because you have to charge it on defense, right?
Oh my god, yeah, wait, what even does that? Actually, I
Hang on.
don't think
Actually, no.
anything.
The
I don't.
no. There is something. There is. It's what is that?
I was
It's
gonna
the
say Soul
new
Shield
chest
wouldn't do it,
piece.
but you're right. There is the new chess piece. Yeah. It says charge when blocked. Ah,
If I can
okay.
just
One
find it.
interaction so far. Ooh, where is it? I can probably find it here.
Thurs,
Spoilers.
set, BTD.
It is Soulbound Resolve.
Thank you. Soulbound. What?
Yeah, when this defends, you may charge your hero's soul. Oh, but if you don't
What's
have
the-
that added to Talishar yet, then there you
It's
go.
not-
It's gonna be a whole series.
No, that is. I actually did add that one.
Oh, you
but
did?
it's
Oh,
not
amazing.
on-
Okay.
What is the card code for it? Do you know?
DTD047.
DTD 047. All right, let me hack that into my hero really quick. Games 172, game state. So it's been a little while since we talked about this. I don't know if anybody new is on, but this is what a game of Talishar looks like behind the scenes. It's just a bunch of data. And so what I'm trying to do is add TD 047, you said?
047. Yep.
So now, theoretically, if we refresh, you should see we've got
What?
Soulbound Resolve.
With 3 Tunic counters? Busted.
It's got 3 energy counters on it, yeah. We did not miss any Tunic counters for our Soulbound Resolve this game. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so we've got Soulbound Resolve. So now we need to attack with this guy. We'll attack with Torrent of Tempo. That's fine. So we need to add
Yeah, let me
LGS.
find that one again. 179, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
So we'll do that, and we'll do pass.
Oh,
So
shoot.
now you can see a great buff. What?
Oh, never mind. It is going to hit. I was going to say you have to let Torrent hit, but you're not blocking 5. You're blocking 2. That was charged. Okay. Yep. All good.
Yeah.
Proceed.
So well, theoretically, it should deal 2, right? Because since we've charged, we should prevent 1 damage. So we'll verify that. We're doing a little incidental. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because of the... Yeah, that's right. Because of the text on Soulbound
Yep.
itself.
Yep.
True. Only take 2.
Yep.
That looks good.
So we don't need to. We'll just turn that off because that's annoying. So now, what do we want to do? We want to see if the next action card. Okay.
Yep, so now
we
this
do.
should
Do we
block
have
4.
action card? Oh, this is an action card. That's cool. Well, I mean, it won't because we haven't,
Oh, yeah, we haven't done
coded
that,
it
true.
in yet. So now what we can do that we've got our effects kind of populated, we can look at the flip-flop code, WTR092, project W2092. While we're talking about Flick Flack, I would like to share that the pride of my Fab collection is a full set of Alpha RF Flick Flacks, all 3.
Ooh, beautiful. The pink strip and everything?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that makes me very happy to have those. So, all right, on block effects. So I think we can just copy this actually. And then we need to change it to whatever our constant was. Our lovingly named block banner. I'd like to propose that as an official nickname for this card.
Banneret of
And
block.
then-
Come on, sounds better.
Yeah. If LSS is looking for people to help design card names, I'd be happy to help. Block banner is up for grabs. All right, so the actual text on that was action cards. So what we'll want to do is so we've already got a card type. Perfect. If card type equals A or card type equals AA, want to add 1 to the block.
So what is A
Hey.
referencing attack action and AA is non-attack action, or what is that?
So actually, A is non-attack action, AA is attack action.
Oh, so how are you excluding that non-attack doesn't get it? Is that what the lines are for?
No, non-attacks do get it. It says the next action.
Oh, next
card you
action. Oh,
defend-
yeah. Okay, true.
Yeah. So, wait. Oh no. So do that. So yeah. So non-attack should buff it as well. This should not though. So
Okay, correct.
yeah,
Very
you can
nice.
see this did not. Oh, but you know what? It consumed that buff. That's no good.
So what
There
is
we
that?
go.
What is that index +6? What is that line doing?
Yeah, so remember before when we were talking about how object-oriented coding is really nice to make code more readable? This is that example of what we're trying to move away from. So the combat chain right now is just an array. Ideally, we'd like it to be an object, so we could do like combat chain dot card dot defense plus equal 1. So if you look at in the constants, you can see +6 is the defense modifier.
Oh, check that out.
So yeah, that's why, like we were talking about earlier, we're trying to move towards a more object-oriented methodology. Oh no. That's the example of what we're trying to move away from, basically. So just makes the code a little bit more readable when you don't have to know what +6 is, right? So, but yeah, I think that's the card.
Sweet.
Oh, we can just go ahead and upload it. And I feel like we might as well just do the last banner if you want to
Yeah, why
keep
not?
going.
It should be as simple as copying the +1 life, but now it's just resource instead of life. Boom.
Right, yeah. Bannarets. Resilience. Commit. So now we can look at, I think it was this one. So we'll go to constants again, which I just closed. We'll change the order of that because that really bothers me.
Yeah, this one's 181, so it'd be the next one.
Resource bank. Okay, so now we can go here. Da, 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 da. So that's that. That should be that. So we need to go to game logic. Block banner. And this was resource banner.
Mm-hmm.
And then current effect abilities. Let me go to life. And that might be it, to be honest. Let's check it. Check out this 81.
All right.
Did we lose our?
Yeah,
What's
lost
that card
take
called?
flight, but you do have View the Vanguard still. That'll do it.
I don't like View the Vanguard as much. All right, we're gonna do take flight. Mono 5/4. So the reason I like this one is because it has go again, which means it won't just end my turn
Oh, yeah.
like when I'm done doing stuff. So, oh, you know what I did forget to do? Effects, effects. I think I forgot to actually define what it does. Use the workers banner. I probably made all the Bolton players just rage quit the stream because I called Via the Vanguard not as good as.
Oh, hold on, careful. It still says gain health under there.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to figure out find gain resources.
Yeah,
Man,
like-
you're already a programmer. We have a 4-hour stream and you're already a programmer.
I don't know. It's only because
Alright.
this is legible. I mean, gain health is clear as day. If it was hashtag number 2, like whatever the fuck. Can't read for shit.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. So we have one resource now. We'll just see if we did it. It did not do it. Is that right?
Yeah, you should have 2 if you're charging that card.
Okay, so
Or no, sorry, if
charge.
it when it hits, obviously, right?
Oh,
or
you
no.
know what? It didn't create our buff. That's why.
Ah. Wait, let me double check.
Aha.
This one is if it hits, right? Yeah.
Damn, all right. Shit. No.
Oh, still not doing it. Huh. Well, that's weird. That it worked on the other ones. You're straight copy pasting.
Let's go to constants. Oh,
Oh, there you go.
lol.
There it
Okay.
is. Look at that. Beautiful. Up to 2 resources.
And that's it.
Nice. 6
So now we can
cards.
delete it.
Cleaned off your plate just
Oh,
like
gee.
that. In front of everyone's eyes.
Okay, what was that one called again? Banneret of.
That one is Vigor. Banneret of Vigor.
Okay, cool. Let's upload. And then once we've uploaded it, we can tell our good friend Jimmy that he can use his Bannarets now. That's still down.
Woohoo!
I've been
All
really
right.
bad.
Start to finish,
Yeah.
we've seen it. All the Bannarets are live. Cool. I mean, honestly, I didn't expect you guys to be so quick across the board anyway. Is there a way we can track what is and what isn't implemented? Is there like a update list, or is it just the Discord, like tracking what you say is live and what isn't?
So, yeah, probably the best way, it's not a good way, but I can show you how you can actually see my work list, is it's this thing right here.
Hmm.
So these are all the cards still left to do, basically. I think like we were talking about earlier in the stream, that's one thing that we can try to do is make it a little bit clearer, like what updates we're making.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that probably we're not going to be able to solve like on stream right now. We'll have to kind of collaborate and just
Right.
get some ideas on
Yeah, there
stuff.
there
So
used to be the I think it was with the Last Set Outsiders. You had a disclaimer on the site that said, "Oh, still implementing," and then it was like burdens of the past and like I don't know, one other card for a while. So even that kind of thing
yeah, so
could help.
I usually do that after the madness of the spoiler weekend is over.
Hmm.
Just because I'm so constantly uploading new cards that it's like
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
lot
mess to edit
to
that
keep
too.
updating another list. So yeah, I'll do that once the spoiler weekend is over
Right.
because during these 3 kind of days, it's usually just rushing to even just keep up with the spoiled cards.
Right. I don't think there's any
Um,
expectation that, these are all done by Monday anyway. I certainly have not planned to
yeah,
really play the new cards until probably end of next week. So slating
yeah, that
slating
makes
different kinds
sense.
of content till then. But someone in the chat is asking, does your work environment go straight to the live server, or was that a test environment? Well, I think let me try to answer this one. At first, there's that test environment, right? That we saw in manual mode, where Nate had both sides open. That is a test environment, but then at the very end, when he's copy pasting the code, that is then pushed live. So it's actually pretty seamless, pretty quick process. It goes from the local test environment to live with just a couple drags of files. So that's
Yeah,
what we
so
saw there.
that's this thing. Yeah, that's this thing when SCP. Basically, when you're done, you're ready to do your commit. You can see I changed 4 files, so you just drag and drop them over, and I'll show you. I can redrag it. It won't hurt anything. You just do that, and then you do that, and that's it. The card is live.
Sweet.
So
All right, well, Nate, this was huge, honestly. Your idea to do this, and I'm really glad that you reached out about it. I learned a lot and can definitely deeply appreciate, even more so now, what goes into keeping these sites running for everybody. So yeah, thank you a ton. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully
yeah,
people learn a lot from the
thanks.
VOD as well, and everyone who was here live. There's links to all the sites in the description. I'm going to be adding timestamps pretty soon after this. And yeah, just kick back, enjoy some spoiler season. Don't work too hard, Nate. All right,
Yeah,
take
I
a
know,
little
I
break.
know.
Take a little break. But we deeply appreciate it,
Right.
my friend.
Thanks for having me on. I've had a lot of fun too. So
Sweet. All right, everybody, that's gonna be it. The spoiler video for my new card is coming out. We should be able to see the premiere coming up right here. Oh, no way. It's got how much of the video I've seen. Holy moly. If I moused over this and it like scrubbed, geez, oh my. I was about to lose it. But okay, no, it is set up as a premiere, thank goodness. Nothing leaked. This is coming out at 12:15 EST, so pretty darn soon, everyone. Just about like 8 hours away or so. So be sure to tune in for that. Hopefully it's a good time zone for everybody, and we can all get those live reactions going in chat. That's really what I'm waiting for. So with that, everybody, I'll see you again for that. And then I've got another stream scheduled, I believe, for Monday, where a couple friends and myself, we're going to be going over all the new Shadow Brute cards and giving things ratings and starting to brew and all that, with no expectation of them working on Talishar yet. All right, no expectation. A turnaround time from Sunday right to Monday is insane, so don't put that on Talishar. All right. But there we go. That's going to be it for today. Thank you again. Any last shout outs before we sign off here?
no, just thanks for having us on. I guess shout out to everybody that we saw, Tyler, Philip, and Lawson, and John and Steve. It's really a community project effort. So shout out to everybody for helping out with everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll make sure to link directly to the Patrons as well. Like I said, if you can't contribute coding wise to what's going on behind the scenes, because everyone is open to the support, then $5 a month, anything like that helps a ton as well. So yeah, I'll be updating everything for that front. And with that, everyone, I will see you in the next one. enjoy spoiler season, and we'll see you again for my card reveal at midnight. Woo! Step, arms, spin. What? Woo! And slide and tango. 1, 2, 1, 2.